What if the biggest thing holding you back is not your situation, but the way you think every day? In this audiobook, you will learn how to elevate your mind and build the habits that help you become stronger, calmer, and more capable in real life. This is not about empty motivation. It is about practical steps you can use right away to train your thoughts, control your reactions, and keep moving even when life feels heavy. You will hear about discipline, focus, resilience, confidence, and daily improvement in a way that is simple, clear, and easy to apply. You will also see how small choices can change the direction of your future. If you have ever felt stuck, distracted, overwhelmed, or unsure of yourself, this journey is for you. Stay with this audiobook until the end, because each chapter builds on the last and gives you something useful you can start using today. You may hear ideas that challenge you. You may also hear truths that feel close to your own life. That is the point. This is your chance to think differently, act with purpose, and begin becoming limitless in a real and practical way. Chapter 1: Train your mind daily to remove mental limits. Your mind is the first place where your life is built. Before your actions change, before your habits change, before your results change, your thinking changes. Every improvement in your life begins with a thought that is repeated often enough to become a belief, and every belief becomes a pattern, and every pattern becomes a way of living. That is why the mind must be trained every day, not once, not only when life is hard, not only when motivation is strong, daily, calmly, with patience, with discipline, with full honesty. Many people live with mental limits they never chose on purpose. They learned them slowly through fear, failure, criticism, pressure, and repeated doubt. They began to believe that their past defines them. They began to believe that their current situation is permanent. They began to believe that confidence belongs to other people. They began to believe that they are too late, too weak, too busy, too unprepared, or too far behind. These thoughts can become so familiar that they feel like truth. But a thought repeated for years is not always truth. Sometimes it is only habit, and a habit of thought can be changed. A limitless life does not begin when all your problems disappear. It begins when you stop allowing your problems to define the size of your mind. You do not need a perfect life to think with strength. You do not need ideal conditions to act with courage. You do not need applause to keep moving forward. You need training. You need a steady practice that teaches your mind how to respond instead of react, how to stay clear instead of confused, and how to rise instead of collapse when pressure appears. Training the mind is not complicated, but it does require honesty. It starts with noticing what you tell yourself in quiet moments. Many people are careful with their words in public, but careless with their inner voice. They would never speak to a friend the way they speak to themselves. They would never call a loved one useless for making one mistake. Yet they attack their own mind with sharp words every time they fall short. That kind of inner speech weakens character. It creates fear. It drains energy. It makes action feel heavier than it should be. The first step in removing mental limits is to watch your thoughts without serving them blindly. A thought can come and go like weather. You do not have to obey every thought. You do not have to believe every fear that appears. You do not have to follow every old story your mind repeats. When doubt comes, pause and ask a simple question: is this true, or is this only familiar? That question can change everything. Familiar thoughts are powerful because they arrive often, not because they are correct. Many limits survive only because they go unchallenged. A strong mind is built through repeated correction. Every time a weak thought appears, answer it with a more useful one. Not a fake one, not a dramatic one, a useful one. If your mind says, "I cannot do this," answer, "I may struggle at first, but I can learn." If your mind says, "I always fail," "I have failed before and I have also improved before." If your mind says, "I am not ready," answer, "I can begin and become ready through action." This is not blind positivity. This is disciplined thinking. It is the decision to lead your mind instead of letting it lead you into fear. Training the mind also means paying attention to what you allow in. Every day, your mind is shaped by what you watch, what you read, what you listen to, and who you spend time with. If you feed it confusion, it will become confused. If you feed it anger, it will become tense. If you feed it excuses, it will become weak. If you feed it clear ideas, hard truths, wise words, and examples of discipline, it will grow stronger. You are not just living your day. You are also training your mind through that day. Every conversation, every screen, every habit, every choice either strengthens your mind or slowly weakens it. Because of that, one of the most practical things you can do is create a simple daily routine that supports mental strength. Start the day with a few quiet minutes before the world begins asking for your attention. Sit still. Breathe slowly. Notice your thoughts. Decide what kind of person you will be today. Choose one quality to practice, such as patience, courage, focus, honesty, or self-control. This small moment matters more than many people realize. It places your mind in a position of leadership before the noise begins. Without this, the day can start with other people's demands, other people's moods, and other people's pressure. With this, the day begins from your own center. Then choose one clear task that matters and do it early. This trains the mind to trust itself. Confidence grows when you keep promises to yourself, not big promises made in excitement. Small promises made with seriousness. Wake up when you said you would. Finish the work you committed to finish. Keep the word you gave yourself. These actions may seem ordinary, but they are powerful. The mind learns through evidence. Every kept promise becomes evidence that you can be trusted. Every broken promise becomes evidence that your words mean little. A limitless mind is built on trust between your intention and your behavior. You must also learn to sit with discomfort without panicking. Many mental limits are not real limits at all. They are simply discomfort that people mistake for danger. Learning feels uncomfortable. Growth feels uncomfortable. Being corrected feels uncomfortable. Starting something new feels uncomfortable. Waiting without certainty feels uncomfortable. But discomfort is not always a sign to stop. Often it is a sign that you are leaving old habits behind. A person who trains the mind understands this. When discomfort appears, the question is not always, how do I escape it? The better question is, what is this discomfort teaching me? That question creates wisdom. One of the strongest ways to remove mental limits is to stop asking your mood for permission. Mood changes, motivation changes, energy changes, confidence changes. If you wait for the perfect feeling, many good things will never begin. A trained mind knows how to move even when the feeling is not there. This does not mean ignoring exhaustion or forcing yourself into foolishness. It means refusing to make every decision based on temporary emotion. You can feel fear and still move. You can feel tired and still do one important thing. You can feel uncertain and still take the next step. This is how people become dependable in their own lives. A powerful mind is also honest about personal weakness. Many people spend too much time defending their limits instead of building strength. They explain why they cannot rather than asking how they can. They protect their comfort more than their potential. Training the mind means facing your weak spots without shame and without excuses. Maybe you lose focus too easily. Maybe you start things and do not finish. Maybe you doubt yourself the moment pressure rises. Maybe you give too much power to other people's opinions. Do not hide these patterns. Study them. Write them down. Look at them clearly. What is seen clearly can be improved. What is denied will continue controlling you. Daily reflection is one of the simplest tools for growth. At the end of the day, ask yourself 3 questions. Where did my mind stay strong today? Where did my mind become weak? What will I do differently tomorrow? These questions are practical and honest. They help you learn from your own life instead of repeating it blindly. Reflection turns experience into wisdom. Without reflection, a person may go through many years and still remain the same person. With reflection, even a hard day can become useful. Another important part of mental training is learning to speak with discipline. Your words shape your thinking more than you may realize. When you constantly say, I am terrible at this, the mind begins to accept it. When you say, nothing ever works for me, the mind begins to search for proof. When you say, I cannot change, you reduce your own future before it has a chance to grow. Speak carefully, speak truthfully. Speak in ways that support growth. Replace dramatic language with accurate language. Instead of "I am completely stuck," say "I need a better plan." Instead of "I can never do this," say "I have not learned how yet." The difference may seem small, but it changes the direction of your mind. You must also stop measuring your worth by your current results alone. A lot of people quit mentally because they believe a slow start means they are not capable. But many great things begin slowly. A tree does not become tall in 1 week. Strength does not appear instantly. Wisdom does not arrive without time. Results follow repeated effort. A limit in one season is not a permanent identity. If you are improving even slowly, you are moving forward. A trained mind does not demand instant proof of progress. It remains steady and keeps working. There is great power in difficult work done regularly. Hard tasks train the mind to stop fearing effort. If you avoid every challenge, your mind becomes soft and cautious. If you face challenge with structure and patience, your mind becomes stable. Choose one task each day that asks more of you than comfort wants to give. It might be finishing a project without delay. It might be having a hard conversation with honesty. It might be reading something that stretches your thinking. It might be practicing a skill until you improve. Difficult work is not punishment. It is training. The person who learns to work through resistance becomes less ruled by fear. You do not remove mental limits by waiting for your self-image to improve first. Self-image improves through repeated action. Do the thing that your old mind says you cannot do. Speak with more calm than you feel. Keep moving after a mistake. Learn after embarrassment. Stay steady after rejection. The mind changes when it sees you behaving like someone stronger than your doubts. Each brave action gives the nervous system a new lesson. It says, "This was uncomfortable, but I survived it." The next time, the fear grows smaller. That is how confidence is built. Not by wishing, by evidence. You also need to protect your attention. A scattered mind cannot become limitless. When your attention is broken all day by noise, messages, alerts, and endless switching, your mind loses depth. You need moments of uninterrupted thinking. You need time to read without rushing. You need time to work without checking everything else. You need time to sit with one clear idea until it becomes useful. Attention is a form of strength. Guard it, give it direction. When your attention is controlled, your mind becomes more powerful, more calm, and more useful. A clear environment helps a clear mind. If your space is chaotic, your mind may feel heavier than it needs to. Clean your room, organize your desk. Remove some of the clutter that steals your attention. Keep the things you need close and the distractions farther away. These actions are practical, not symbolic. They reduce friction. They make good behavior easier. Many people underestimate the link between environment and thought, but the two affect each other constantly. A well-ordered space does not solve everything, but it supports discipline. Part of becoming limitless is accepting that pain is sometimes part of the path. This is not a dark thought, it is a mature one. Life will test your patience. People may misunderstand you. Some plans will fail. Some efforts will take longer than expected. You will face days when your strength feels low. A trained mind does not collapse under this truth. It says, "This is difficult, but I can remain steady." Stoic thinking is not about pretending nothing hurts. It is about refusing to let pain control your character. You cannot always choose what happens to you, but you can choose how you respond. That choice is one of the greatest powers a human being has. When disappointment comes, do not rush to judge yourself. Many people treat one setback like a final verdict. They see one mistake and decide they are broken. That is a harsh way to live, and it is false. A mistake is information. It shows you what needs work. It is not proof that you are finished. The mind grows stronger when it learns to extract lessons without drowning in shame. Ask, "What can I improve?" Not, "Why am I like this?" The first question builds strength. The second question often breeds self-pity. Self-pity may feel comforting for a moment, but it leaves you weaker. Honest responsibility leaves you stronger. You will also need patience with yourself. Training the mind takes time. The goal is not to become perfect in a week. The goal is to become more aware, more steady, more disciplined, and more capable over time. Progress may be slow at first, but slow progress is still progress. Some days you will feel sharp, some days you will feel tired, some days you will respond well, some days you will not. The point is not flawless performance. The point is to keep returning to the practice. Every return matters. Every return strengthens your character. A simple way to train your mind daily is to choose one thought to challenge each day. Maybe today it is, I am not enough. Maybe tomorrow it is, this is too hard. Maybe the next day it is, people are always against me. Write the thought down. Look at it closely. Ask whether it is fully true. Then write a better response based on reality, not fantasy reality. I am still learning and I can improve. This is hard, but hard things can be done one step at a time. Some people may not support me, but I do not need everyone's approval to grow. This practice builds mental discipline because it teaches your mind not to accept every negative claim automatically. Another useful habit is reading with purpose. Read books or listen to ideas that strengthen your mind, not just entertain it. Choose words that challenge laziness, fear, and confusion. Let strong ideas settle into your thinking. Then apply them. Knowledge without action becomes decoration. Real learning changes behavior. The best material is not the one that sounds impressive. It is the one that changes how you live on a Tuesday morning when no one is watching. You should also spend time in silence. Silence helps you notice what your mind is doing. Without silence, your inner life can become crowded and unclear. Sit quietly for a few minutes. No phone, no music, no distractions. Just breathing and observing. At first, this may feel uncomfortable because silence reveals the noise that was hiding underneath. But that is valuable. You cannot correct what you never notice. In silence, you begin to hear your fears more clearly, your desires more clearly, and your priorities more clearly. That clarity helps you make wiser choices. When your mind starts to limit you, remember that growth is often hidden inside repetition. The same simple actions done with seriousness become powerful over time. Waking up on time, reading a few pages, writing your thoughts, exercising your body, completing your work, keeping your word, thinking before reacting. These acts may not feel dramatic, but they reshape identity. You do not need a dramatic life to build a strong mind. You need repeated discipline. Great change often comes from ordinary actions performed with high standards. There will be moments when old doubts return. Do not panic when that happens. A trained mind does not expect doubt never to appear again. It expects to handle doubt better each time. The goal is not to erase all weakness forever. The goal is to become less controlled by it. When doubt comes, breathe. Slow down. Return to what is true. Return to what is in your control. Return to the next right step. A calm response is often more powerful than a perfect explanation. You do not need to solve your whole life in one moment. You need to stay steady in the moment you are in. Think about the people who inspire you. They are not always the people with the easiest lives. Often they are the ones who kept going with discipline when things were hard. They learned to master themselves. They trained their minds to stay useful under pressure. That same path is available to you. It begins with daily decisions. It grows through repeated honesty. It strengthens through challenge. It matures through patience. And it becomes visible in the way you think, speak, and act. Do not wait to feel limitless before you begin living with a limitless mind. Begin now, with the mind you have today. Train it with care. Correct it with truth. Support it with strong habits. Protect it from noise. Strengthen it through effort. Rest it when needed. Challenge it when necessary. Guide it with purpose. A strong life is not built by accident. It is built by a mind that has learned to serve something greater than fear. Every day gives you another chance to practice, another chance to notice a weak thought and replace it, another chance to keep a promise to yourself, another chance to choose discipline over comfort, another chance to respond with wisdom instead of emotion, another chance to become the kind of person who does not shrink when life becomes difficult. That person is not born complete. That person is trained. And the training begins in the mind. Hold on to this truth. Your mind can grow stronger. Your thinking can become cleaner. Your habits can become more disciplined. Your courage can become more reliable. Your limits are not always as fixed as they seem. Some of them will fall the moment you stop feeding them. Some of them will fade when you challenge them with action. Some of them will disappear after enough honest work. The life you want is not blocked by the size of the world. It is often blocked by the habits of thought you have accepted for too long. Choose a better thought. Then choose another. Then act on it. Keep doing that, day after day. That is how mental limits are removed. That is how strength grows. That is how a person becomes harder to break and easier to trust. That is how a life becomes larger, clearer, and more disciplined. Not through wishful thinking, through daily training, through steady effort, through the quiet power of a mind that has learned to rise above its old limits and keep moving forward. Chapter 2: Develop discipline that builds unstoppable personal growth habits. Discipline is the quiet force that shapes a meaningful life. It is not loud, not dramatic, and not always exciting, yet it determines who you become over time. Many people search for motivation, hoping to feel inspired before they take action. But motivation changes from day to day. Discipline stays. Discipline carries you forward when energy is low, when results are slow, and when progress feels invisible. It becomes the steady foundation that supports growth without depending on temporary emotions. Personal growth begins when discipline becomes part of daily life. It is not about forcing yourself into an unrealistic routine or pushing beyond healthy limits. It is about making small, consistent decisions that strengthen your character and move you closer to your goals. Discipline means showing up when it is easier to avoid effort. It means finishing what you started even when excitement fades. It means choosing improvement over comfort, again and again, until the behavior becomes natural. Many people believe discipline is harsh or restrictive, but real discipline creates freedom. When you build disciplined habits, you reduce stress, increase clarity, and create momentum. You no longer waste energy deciding whether to act. You simply follow through. Discipline removes hesitation and replaces it with direction. This makes life simpler, more focused, and more purposeful. Start by understanding that discipline grows through small actions. It does not appear overnight. It begins with manageable commitments that you can keep consistently. Choose one habit that supports your growth. Wake up at a consistent time. Read for 10 minutes. Write your thoughts. Practice a skill. Move your body. These simple actions build trust between your intention and your behavior. When you repeat them daily, discipline strengthens quietly. Consistency matters more than intensity. Many people start with large plans but struggle to maintain them. They try to change everything at once and soon feel overwhelmed. Discipline grows better when you begin with small steps and expand gradually. A small habit repeated daily becomes stronger than a large habit abandoned after a few days. Focus on building a rhythm that fits your life and supports steady improvement. There will be days when discipline feels difficult. Fatigue, distractions, and doubt will test your commitment. These moments are part of the process. Discipline grows stronger when you act despite resistance. When you complete a task even when you feel tired, you teach your mind that effort does not depend on mood. When you follow through during discomfort, you strengthen your resilience. Each disciplined action builds mental endurance. Your environment plays an important role in discipline. Make it easier to follow good habits by preparing your surroundings. Keep your workspace organized. Remove distractions that pull your attention away. Place helpful tools within reach. These small adjustments reduce friction and support consistency. A clear environment encourages a clear mind and focused effort. Another powerful aspect of discipline is setting boundaries. Without boundaries, your time and energy become scattered. Decide what matters most and protect it. Limit activities that drain your focus without adding value. Learn to say no to commitments that distract from your growth. Boundaries create space for discipline to thrive. They help you stay aligned with your goals and avoid unnecessary stress. Discipline also requires patience. Growth takes time. You may not see immediate results, but each disciplined action builds momentum. Trust the process. Continue working even when progress seems slow. Over time, small improvements accumulate. Your skills strengthen. Your confidence grows. Your habits become automatic. The effort you invest today becomes the foundation for future success. Another important element of discipline is accountability. Take responsibility for your actions and track your progress. Write down your goals, record your habits, review your efforts regularly. This practice increases awareness and helps you stay consistent. When you see your progress, you feel encouraged to continue. When you notice gaps, you adjust and improve. Accountability turns intention into action. Discipline also means managing your energy wisely. Rest is not the opposite of discipline. It is part of it. A tired mind struggles to stay focused. Schedule time for recovery. Sleep well. Take breaks when needed. Balance effort with rest. This approach keeps your discipline sustainable and prevents burnout. Growth should be steady, not exhausting. You will face moments when you fall short. This is normal. Discipline does not require perfection. It requires persistence. When you miss a habit, return to it the next day. Avoid harsh self-judgment. Learn from the setback and continue moving forward. Progress is built through repeated effort, not flawless performance. Each time you restart, you strengthen your commitment. Another way to develop discipline is by focusing on purpose. When you understand why your growth matters, discipline becomes easier. Think about the life you want to build. Think about the person you want to become. Let this vision guide your actions. Purpose gives meaning to effort. It turns routine into progress and discipline into fulfillment. Discipline also grows when you prioritize important tasks. Start your day with meaningful work. Complete tasks that require focus before distractions appear. This approach builds momentum and reduces stress. When you begin with purpose, the rest of the day becomes more productive. Small victories create confidence and reinforce discipline. It is also helpful to break larger goals into smaller steps. Big goals can feel overwhelming. Smaller tasks make progress manageable. Focus on one step at a time. Celebrate small improvements. This method keeps you motivated and strengthens discipline. Each completed step builds confidence and encourages continued effort. Another key to discipline is emotional control. You will not always feel motivated or confident. Discipline helps you act with stability regardless of emotions. When frustration appears, pause and breathe. When doubt arises, return to your plan. Emotional control supports consistent action. It allows you to move forward with calm determination. Daily reflection strengthens discipline. At the end of each day, review your actions. Notice where you stayed focused. Notice where distractions took over. Decide how to improve tomorrow. Reflection turns experience into growth. It keeps your discipline aligned with your goals and helps you learn from your efforts. Surrounding yourself with supportive influences also helps build discipline. Spend time with people who value growth. Learn from individuals who practice consistency. Read ideas that encourage discipline. These influences shape your thinking and reinforce positive habits. Growth becomes easier when your environment supports it. Discipline also involves courage. Some tasks require stepping outside your comfort zone. You may feel uncertain or hesitant. Discipline encourages you to move forward anyway. Each time you face discomfort, your confidence grows. Courage becomes stronger with practice. Discipline turns fear into progress. Avoid comparing your journey to others. Everyone grows at a different pace. Focus on your own improvement. Measure progress against your past self. This approach reduces pressure and strengthens discipline. Growth becomes personal and meaningful. Another powerful strategy is to create routines. Routines reduce decision fatigue. When you follow a consistent pattern, discipline becomes automatic. Morning routines, work routines, and evening routines provide structure. Structure supports consistency. Over time, routines make discipline effortless. You should also reward progress in healthy ways. Acknowledge your effort. Recognize improvement. Celebrate milestones. This reinforces positive behavior and strengthens discipline. Growth becomes enjoyable when you appreciate your achievements. Discipline transforms your identity. As you practice consistency, you begin to see yourself differently. You become someone who follows through, someone who stays committed, someone who values growth. This identity supports long-term success. Discipline becomes part of who you are. There will be times when progress slows. Stay patient. Continue working. Growth often happens quietly. Trust the effort you are investing. Discipline builds strength even when results are not visible. Over time, progress becomes clear. Remember that discipline is not about controlling every moment. It is about guiding your actions with intention. Balance effort with flexibility. Adjust your approach when necessary. Stay committed to growth while adapting to life's challenges. Your future is shaped by daily choices. Each disciplined action moves you forward. Each consistent habit builds strength. Each focused effort creates progress. Discipline transforms small actions into meaningful results. Commit to discipline as a daily practice. Show up with purpose. Follow through with determination. Learn from setbacks. Continue improving. Over time, discipline builds unstoppable personal growth habits. Your mind becomes stronger. Your confidence grows. Your actions become intentional. Discipline turns effort into progress and progress into transformation. Through consistent discipline, you build a life guided by growth, resilience, and lasting success. Chapter 30. Challenge fear and take action despite uncertainty. Fear is one of the most powerful forces in human life because it speaks before reason has time to answer. It can make a small problem feel enormous. It can make a normal challenge feel dangerous. It can make a new opportunity feel like a threat. Many people do not stay stuck because they lack talent. They stay stuck because fear convinces them to protect their comfort instead of their future. They wait. They hesitate. They overthink. They imagine failure so often that they begin to treat inaction as safety. But inaction has a cost too. It slowly steals time, confidence, and possibility. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the decision to move even while fear is present. That is where real growth begins. A person who waits until fear disappears may spend years waiting. Fear rarely leaves first. It usually weakens after action begins. This is why action is so important. Movement changes perspective. A step forward breaks the spell that fear creates in the mind. The unknown becomes less dangerous once you enter it with discipline and a clear purpose. Much of fear comes from stories the mind creates ahead of time. You imagine the worst outcome. You picture embarrassment. You picture rejection. You picture failure as if it were guaranteed. Yet most of the things people fear in advance never happen as expected, and even when something difficult does happen, it is usually not the end that fear predicted. Fear makes the future look larger than it is. Action brings it back to size. When you face a difficult moment directly, you begin to see that uncertainty is not always a warning. Often it is simply the space where growth lives. A strong life requires a stronger response to uncertainty. You will never know everything before you begin. You will not always feel ready. You will not always have perfect clarity. Waiting for total certainty is one of the main reasons people remain unchanged. There is no full guarantee before meaningful action. The truth is that progress often begins while questions are still unresolved. You learn by doing. You discover by trying. You improve by entering the experience instead of standing at a distance. One of the best ways to challenge fear is to name it clearly. Vague fear grows stronger in silence. Specific fear becomes easier to manage. Ask yourself what you are actually afraid of. Is it failure? Is it judgment? Is it losing comfort? Is it disappointing someone? Is it not being good enough? Once fear is identified, it loses some of its power. A shape can be examined. A shadow cannot. When you name the fear, you make it something you can work with instead of something that controls you from the background. Then ask a more useful question. What would happen if you acted anyway? Many people assume fear means stop. In reality, fear often means pay attention and move carefully, not stop completely. There are moments when caution is wise. There are also moments when hesitation becomes self-sabotage. Action is what separates the two. Once you take the first step, your mind begins to shift from imagination to reality. You are no longer trapped inside the story fear was telling you. You are inside the task itself, and that is where real learning begins. Start small if needed. Fear does not always respond well to dramatic pressure. It often weakens through gradual exposure. Make the call, send the message, begin the project, ask the question, speak the truth, do the first difficult part. You do not need to solve the whole future in one move. You only need to take the next honest step. Small acts of courage create momentum. Momentum reduces fear because it proves you are not helpless. Each action gives your mind evidence that you can survive discomfort. There is a deep form of strength in doing what matters while your feelings are unsettled. You may feel nervous and still proceed. You may feel exposed and still speak. You may feel uncertain and still begin. This is not recklessness. It is self-command. Many people think strength is shown only when a person feels fearless. In truth, strength is often shown when a person remains steady while fear is still present. That kind of strength changes how you see yourself. Over time, you stop seeing fear as a command and begin seeing it as a signal that you are approaching something important. Fear also grows when your mind keeps returning to imagined outcomes instead of present action. A useful discipline is to bring your attention back to what is in front of you. What is the next task? What is the next conversation? What is the next step? Anxiety often lives in the future. Action lives in the present. When you return to the present, your power returns with you. You cannot control every possible result, but you can control your response right now. That is where your responsibility begins. It helps to remember that failure is not always a loss. Many failures are lessons in disguise. They show you what needs adjustment. They show you what was missing. They show you where your preparation was weak. If you treat failure as a teacher instead of an enemy, fear becomes less threatening. The mind relaxes when it knows mistakes are not fatal. This does not mean you should welcome carelessness. It means you should not let the possibility of imperfection prevent you from trying. A person who never risks a mistake also never reaches many of the things that matter most. Some fears are deeply tied to identity. You do not just fear failing at a task. You fear what failure might say about you. You worry it will prove you are not capable. That is a heavy burden to carry, and it is often false. A single outcome does not define your value. A temporary struggle does not erase your potential. A difficult season does not lock your future. When you separate your identity from your results, fear loses much of its grip. You can care deeply about what you do without turning every outcome into a judgment on your worth. This kind of mindset takes practice. Each time fear appears, pause long enough to choose your response. Breathe slowly. Relax your body. Remind yourself that discomfort is not danger. Then act according to your values rather than your emotions. Values give direction when feelings are unstable. If courage matters to you, behave courageously. If growth matters to you, move toward the task. If honesty matters to you, say what needs to be said. Living this way builds a person who can be trusted under pressure. Fear often tries to protect your image. It says stay silent so no one sees you struggle. It says wait until you are more polished. It says do not begin unless you can do it perfectly. But life does not reward hidden potential. It rewards applied effort. You become stronger by being seen trying. You become wiser by being seen learning. You become more capable by being seen improving in real time. There is no shame in beginning as a beginner. There is only loss in refusing to begin. One practical way to challenge fear is to create a daily courage habit. Do one thing each day that slightly stretches you. Make an uncomfortable phone call. Share your idea. Ask for feedback. Try the task you have been avoiding. Speak in a room where you usually stay quiet. These moments may seem small, but they train the nervous system to accept challenge without collapsing. Courage is built through repetition. The more often you face a useful discomfort, the less power fear has over your choices. You do not need to feel brave in order to act bravely. That is a mistake many people make. They wait to become brave before they move. But bravery is often the result of movement, not the requirement for it. Action first, confidence later, clarity later, calm later. The order matters. Your mind learns from experience, not from wishing. Once you act, you prove that fear does not own you. The more proof you give yourself, the less convincing fear becomes. Some of your greatest growth will come from moments when you could have retreated but chose to continue. Those moments matter because they reveal character. They show that you are willing to stand for something larger than temporary comfort. That choice changes your self-respect. You begin to trust yourself more. You begin to rely on your own discipline. You begin to understand that uncertainty is not a wall, it is a doorway that asks for movement. Every important life will contain uncertainty. No meaningful path is free from it. The question is not whether uncertainty will appear. The question is what you will do when it does. You can freeze and let fear decide for you, or you can move with steady purpose and let growth shape you. The second choice is harder at first, but it leads to a stronger life. So when fear rises, do not wait for a perfect feeling. Do not wait for complete certainty. Do not wait for the right moment to magically arrive. Take the step that is available now. Speak, begin, try, learn, adjust, continue. The mind becomes stronger each time you act in the middle of fear. Over time, you stop being controlled by what might go wrong and start being guided by what could go right if you stay committed. This is how a person becomes larger than fear. Not by denying fear, but by refusing to obey it blindly. Not by pretending uncertainty does not exist, but by moving through it with steady hands and a clear mind. This is the path of growth. This is the path of discipline. This is the path of a life that does not wait to be safe before becoming great. Chapter 4 is strengthen focus by eliminating distractions from your environment. Focus is a form of power. It decides how much of your life goes into useful work and how much disappears into noise. Many people believe they have a motivation problem when the real problem is an attention problem. Their mind is pulled in too many directions. Their phone interrupts their thoughts. Their space stays cluttered. Their day gets broken into fragments. By the end of the day they feel tired but have very little to show for it. This is not a lack of ability. It is a lack of protection around attention. A distracted environment creates a distracted mind. What surrounds you affects what you think about, how long you stay with a task, and how much effort you waste switching between things that do not matter. If your room is full of visual clutter, your mind carries that noise with it. If your phone is always within reach and always active, your attention becomes weak and reactive. If your surroundings are filled with constant alerts, random videos, and background chatter, your mind begins to expect interruption. Over time, it becomes harder to sit still with one task long enough to do it well. Strengthening focus begins with honesty. Look at your environment as it is, not as you wish it were. What pulls your attention away? What keeps you from starting? What causes you to break concentration? You may find that the issue is not complicated. It may be a desk covered in unnecessary items. It may be a screen that stays too close. It may be a habit of checking messages every few minutes. It may be a room that lacks order and quietly drains your energy. Small distractions become major obstacles when they are repeated all day. A focused life starts with simple removal. Remove what is not needed. Put away what distracts. Silence what interrupts. Clean what feels chaotic. These are not small acts. They create mental space. A clear desk can make it easier to begin work. A quiet room can make it easier to think. A phone placed out of reach can protect an hour of deep effort. These changes may seem ordinary, but they shape the quality of your day in a powerful way. Many people want better results without changing the conditions that weaken them. They asked for stronger concentration while keeping the same habits that break concentration. That does not work for long. Attention needs support. It needs structure. It needs boundaries. It needs a setting that makes focus easier than distraction. You cannot always control the outside world, but you can shape your immediate space. That is where responsibility begins. One useful habit is to create a work area that tells your mind what to do. Keep the space limited to what supports the task in front of you. If you are writing, place only what you need to write. If you are studying, remove items that invite wandering thoughts. If you are building something, arrange your tools with intention. Your environment should give your mind fewer reasons to drift. Good design reduces resistance. It makes the right action easier to repeat. Your digital environment matters just as much as your physical one. Many people live with constant digital noise and wonder why they cannot think clearly. Notifications, messages, endless feeds, and rapid switching train the mind to seek novelty instead of depth. If every few minutes your attention jumps to something new, your brain stops learning how to stay with one thing. This weakens your ability to think deeply, solve problems, and finish meaningful work. Protecting focus often means limiting digital interruptions before they limit you. Set clear rules for your devices. Keep your phone on silent during important work. Turn off non-essential alerts. Check messages at planned times instead of every time the screen lights up. Place distracting apps farther from your reach. These decisions are practical, not extreme. They are the kind of discipline that protects your best energy for what matters most. A person who controls the device does better than a person controlled by it. Focus also improves when you define what matters before the day begins. If you start without direction, your attention will go wherever the strongest noise leads it. That usually means low-value tasks, interruptions, and mental clutter. A better way is to decide the most important work early. Write down the 1 or 2 tasks that truly matter. Then begin with them before the day fills up with lesser demands. Clear priorities create strong concentration because they remove the question of what to do next. One of the biggest enemies of focus is unfinished mental clutter. When too many things remain open in your head, attention gets diluted. Write things down. Make short lists. Capture what needs to be remembered so your mind does not keep recycling it. This simple habit frees mental space. The brain works better when it is not trying to hold everything at once. Clarity grows when thought becomes organized. It is also important to respect the rhythm of your own mind. Focus is not endless. It needs breaks, but those breaks should be intentional, not random. Work deeply for a set period, then step away briefly and return with fresh attention. This is very different from constant interruption. Planned rest supports concentration. Random distraction weakens it. Learn the difference. A disciplined break restores energy. A careless interruption scatters it. Distractions are not always external. Some of them are internal. Worry, self-doubt, regret, and fantasy can pull attention away just as much as noise and screens. A clear environment helps, but you must also manage the thoughts that try to pull you in different directions. When your mind begins to wander into fear or comparison, bring it back to the task in front of you. Focus is not just about where your eyes go. It is also about where your mind stays. There is strength in doing one thing at a time with full presence. In a distracted world, this feels almost unusual, yet it is one of the most valuable skills a person can develop. Multitasking often looks productive, but it usually produces shallow work and mental fatigue. Doing one thing well creates better results and more peace. You feel less scattered. You make fewer mistakes. You begin to trust your own attention again. If your surroundings are full of constant interruption, change them little by little. You do not need to rebuild your whole life in one day. Start with one room. Start with one drawer. Start with 1 hour free from interruptions. Start with one evening where the screen stays off for a while. Small changes build momentum. Each improvement sends a message to your mind that focus matters and that your attention deserves protection. You will notice that when distractions decrease, your thoughts become more precise. You begin to think with more depth. Tasks that once felt overwhelming become easier to manage. You waste less time recovering from interruption. Your work becomes cleaner. Your stress begins to drop. A focused mind does not feel rushed all the time because it is not constantly fighting for control. There is also a deeper benefit. When your environment supports focus, your character grows stronger. You learn patience. You learn restraint. You learn to stay with hard work long enough to finish it. This builds self-respect. A person who keeps their attention under control becomes more reliable in every area of life. Focus is not just a work skill. It is a life skill. It affects how you learn, how you decide, how you build, and how you respond to pressure. Protecting focus is a daily choice. The world will always offer noise. There will always be something more entertaining than the task in front of you. There will always be a message waiting, a distraction available, or a reason to look away. The question is not whether distractions exist. The question is whether you will build a life that gives them too much access. A strong mind does not leave its attention unguarded. Choose order over clutter. Choose silence over noise when silence is needed. Choose purpose over impulse. Choose one task and give it your full mind. Each time you do this, your focus grows stronger. Each time you remove another distraction, your thinking becomes clearer. Each time you protect your attention, you protect your future. A focused life does not happen by accident. It is built through daily decisions that shape your environment and sharpen your mind. The fewer distractions you allow, the more power you recover. The more power you recover, the more work you complete. The more work you complete, the more confidence you build. That is how focus becomes a strength you can trust. Chapter 50. Adopt learning habits that expand thinking every day. Growth begins when learning becomes part of everyday life, rather than an occasional effort. Many people believe education ends when formal schooling finishes, yet real development often begins afterward. The mind either expands or slowly becomes rigid depending on how it is used. When you choose to learn daily, you give your thinking fresh material, new perspectives, and deeper understanding. Without learning, ideas repeat, assumptions remain unchallenged, and potential stays limited. A person who learns consistently develops flexibility, clarity, and better judgment in both simple and complex situations. Adopting learning habits does not require complicated plans. It starts with curiosity and discipline. Curiosity opens the door, and discipline keeps it open. Ask questions about the world, about your work, about your reactions, and about your goals. Instead of accepting information at face value, examine it. Think about why something works. Consider how it can be improved. This habit transforms ordinary experiences into lessons. Every conversation, every challenge, and every success becomes a source of knowledge when you approach life with an active mind. Reading is one of the most direct ways to expand thinking. A few pages each day can introduce ideas that reshape how you view problems and opportunities. Choose material that stretches your understanding rather than only confirming what you already believe. Read slowly enough to absorb meaning. Reflect on what you read. Ask how it applies to your life. When reading becomes a daily practice, the mind begins to connect ideas naturally. Over time, you develop the ability to think more clearly and respond with greater wisdom. Writing is another powerful learning habit. When you write, you organize thoughts and examine them carefully. You notice gaps in your understanding. You refine your ideas. You clarify what matters. Writing does not need to be formal. A simple journal is enough. Record what you learned today. Note what confused you. Write down questions that deserve attention. This practice strengthens memory and deepens comprehension. Learning becomes more active when thoughts move from the mind to the page. Listening carefully also expands thinking. Many people hear words but do not truly listen. They prepare their response while the other person is still speaking. This limits growth. Instead, listen with intention. Focus on understanding before judging. Different viewpoints reveal possibilities you may not have considered. Even disagreement can teach something valuable. When you listen deeply, you gather insights that sharpen your thinking and improve your decision-making. Another essential learning habit is reflection. At the end of each day, take a few minutes to review what happened. Ask what went well. Ask what could improve. Consider what surprised you. This simple routine turns experience into knowledge. Without reflection, days pass without meaning. With reflection, each day adds to your understanding. You begin to see patterns. You recognize mistakes sooner. You adjust your behavior with purpose. Learning also grows through practice. Knowledge alone is not enough. Apply what you learn in small ways. If you read about better communication, practice speaking with clarity. If you study productivity, test new methods. Action reveals what works. It also builds confidence. When learning connects with behavior, it becomes part of your identity. You move from knowing to doing, and that transition changes your results. It is helpful to create a consistent learning schedule. Choose a time each day dedicated to growth. Morning reading, midday reflection, or evening study can work. The specific time matters less than the consistency. A routine signals to your mind that learning is a priority. Over time, the habit becomes automatic. You no longer struggle to begin. The mind expects learning and prepares for it. Expanding thinking also involves exploring new subjects. Many people stay within familiar areas and miss opportunities to grow. Try learning something outside your usual interests. study a new skill, explore a different perspective. Exposure to variety strengthens creativity and adaptability. You begin to see connections between fields. Solutions become easier to find when your thinking is not confined. Questions are valuable tools for learning. Ask how something works. Ask why it matters. Ask what could be improved. Questions keep the mind active. They prevent passive acceptance. When you ask better questions, you receive better answers. This habit deepens understanding and encourages continuous exploration. Learning habits also require patience. Growth does not happen instantly. Some concepts take time to understand. Stay consistent even when progress feels slow. Small daily learning compounds over time. A few minutes each day becomes hours, and hours become expertise. Trust the process. The mind develops quietly but steadily. It is important to avoid information overload. Consuming too much without reflection weakens learning. Focus on quality rather than quantity. Choose a few meaningful ideas and apply them. This approach strengthens retention and encourages practical use. Learning should clarify thinking, not confuse it. Another helpful habit is teaching others. Explaining ideas forces you to understand them deeply. Share what you learn with friends or colleagues. Discuss insights. Answer questions. Teaching reveals gaps in your knowledge and encourages further study. It also reinforces what you already understand. Your environment influences learning. Surround yourself with materials that encourage growth. Keep books visible. Save useful notes. Reduce distractions during study time. A supportive environment makes learning easier. When growth becomes part of your surroundings, it becomes part of your life. Learning also involves observing your own behavior. Notice your reactions. Notice what motivates you. Notice what slows you down. Self-observation builds awareness. Awareness leads to better choices. The more you understand yourself, the more effectively you can improve. Mistakes are part of learning. When you make an error, examine it calmly. Identify what went wrong. Adjust your approach. This mindset transforms setbacks into progress. Fear of mistakes limits growth. Acceptance of mistakes encourages exploration and development. Consistency is the foundation of learning habits. Even on busy days, spend a few minutes expanding your thinking. Read a paragraph. Write one idea. Reflect briefly. Small actions maintain momentum. Over time, these moments create significant change. Learning also strengthens confidence. When you understand more, you approach challenges with clarity. You rely less on guesswork. You respond thoughtfully. Confidence built on knowledge is steady and reliable. Curiosity keeps learning alive. Stay interested in improvement. Notice details. Seek understanding. Curiosity prevents stagnation. It keeps the mind active and engaged. Adopting learning habits transforms everyday life. Routine activities become opportunities to grow. Conversations become lessons. Challenges become teachers. The mind expands naturally when learning is constant. Commit to learning daily. Protect time for growth. Reflect on new ideas. Apply knowledge in small steps. Over time, your thinking becomes broader, deeper, and more flexible. You begin to see possibilities where others see limits. You make decisions with greater wisdom. You approach life with clarity and confidence. A person who learns every day never stops evolving. The mind remains open. The future remains full of opportunity. Through consistent learning habits, you expand your thinking and shape a life guided by knowledge, discipline, and continuous improvement. Chapter 60. Commit to daily improvement regardless of motivation levels. Motivation feels powerful when it appears. It creates excitement, clarity, and the desire to act. On those days, progress seems natural and effortless. Yet motivation is not stable. It rises and falls depending on mood, sleep, stress, and countless other factors. When people depend only on motivation, their growth becomes inconsistent. They work hard one day and slow down the next. They start strong and lose momentum when feelings change. Over time, this pattern leads to frustration because results require consistency, not occasional bursts of energy. Daily improvement begins when you decide to act regardless of motivation. This is not about forcing yourself into extreme effort every day. It is about showing up with intention, even when you do not feel excited. Small actions taken consistently create steady growth. A few minutes of learning, a short period of focused work, or a simple step forward can move you closer to your goals. When you commit to daily improvement, you stop waiting for inspiration and start building progress through discipline. The key is to lower the barrier to action. When motivation is low, large tasks feel overwhelming. Break your work into smaller steps. Focus on one action that is manageable. Start with something simple. Once you begin, momentum often follows. Starting is usually the hardest part. A small beginning can lead to continued effort. Over time, this habit trains your mind to act even when energy feels limited. Consistency builds confidence. Each day you follow through, you reinforce your commitment. You begin to trust your own discipline. This trust becomes a powerful source of motivation that comes from within. Instead of relying on external excitement, you rely on your ability to act. This shift creates stability. Your progress becomes less dependent on emotions and more dependent on intention. It is helpful to define what daily improvement means for you. Improvement does not always require large changes. It can be learning one new idea, improving a skill slightly, or refining your habits. These small steps accumulate over time. 1% improvement each day may seem minor, yet it compounds into significant progress. The mind adapts to steady effort, skills strengthen gradually, confidence grows naturally. Daily improvement also requires clarity. Decide what areas of your life deserve attention. It may be your work, health, mindset, or relationships. Choose a few priorities and focus on them consistently. Too many goals can create confusion. Clear direction helps you stay committed. When you know what you are improving, your actions become more purposeful. There will be days when resistance feels strong. You may feel tired, distracted, or uncertain. On those days, remind yourself that progress matters more than perfection. Even a small step counts. A brief review, a short practice session, or a focused moment keeps your commitment alive. The goal is to avoid breaking the chain. Consistency matters more than intensity. Daily improvement also teaches patience. Results often appear slowly. You may not notice change immediately. Trust the process. Each effort builds a foundation. Over time, the results become visible. A steady approach prevents burnout and supports long-term growth. Patience allows you to continue even when progress feels subtle. Another helpful strategy is to create routines that support improvement. A morning routine can prepare your mind for the day. An evening routine can help you reflect and learn. Routines reduce decision fatigue. They make improvement automatic. When habits become part of your routine, you spend less energy deciding and more energy acting. Accountability strengthens commitment. Track your progress. Write down what you accomplished each day. This simple habit creates awareness. It reminds you of your efforts and encourages consistency. When you see your progress, you feel motivated to continue. When you notice gaps, you adjust and improve. Daily improvement also involves learning from setbacks. There will be moments when you miss a day or lose focus. This is normal. Avoid harsh self-judgment. Instead, restart with determination. One missed day does not define your journey. What matters is returning to your commitment. Resilience grows when you continue despite interruptions. Energy management plays a role in daily improvement. Take care of your physical and mental well-being. Sleep, movement, and rest support productivity. A healthy mind and body make it easier to stay consistent. Improvement should strengthen you, not exhaust you. Another important aspect is focusing on process rather than outcome. When you focus only on results, you may feel discouraged if progress is slow. When you focus on the process, each effort becomes meaningful. You learn to appreciate discipline itself. This mindset keeps you engaged and committed. Daily improvement also requires honesty. Evaluate your actions regularly. Ask yourself what worked and what did not. Adjust your approach. Continuous learning enhances progress. Honest reflection prevents stagnation. Small wins matter. Recognize your efforts. Celebrate progress. This reinforces positive behavior and encourages consistency. Growth becomes more enjoyable when you acknowledge improvement. Your environment can support daily improvement. Surround yourself with tools and resources that encourage growth. Keep books, notes, or reminders visible. Reduce distractions. A supportive environment makes consistency easier. Daily improvement also shapes identity. When you commit to growth, you begin to see yourself as someone who improves consistently. This identity strengthens discipline. Your actions align with your self-image. There will be moments when motivation returns strongly. Use those moments wisely. Make extra progress when energy is high. Prepare for future low motivation days. Build systems that maintain consistency. Over time, daily improvement transforms your life. Small steps create large changes. Skills develop. Confidence grows. Opportunities increase. Your mindset becomes more resilient. Commitment to daily improvement creates a stable path forward. You no longer depend on fluctuating motivation. You rely on discipline and intention. This approach leads to steady progress. Every day becomes an opportunity to grow. Each effort builds momentum. Each improvement strengthens your future. Commit to daily improvement regardless of motivation levels, and your life will gradually transform through consistent, meaningful progress. Chapter 7. Build resilience through consistent effort and self-discipline. Resilience is not built in a single moment of pressure. It is built through repeated effort when no one is cheering and when the result is still far away. It grows in the ordinary days when you keep going even though the work feels slow, the reward feels distant, and your energy feels lower than you would like. Many people think resilience is something you are born with, but that is not true. It is trained. It is shaped by the way you respond to difficulty, the way you carry yourself through stress, and the way you return to your responsibilities after disappointment. A resilient person does not avoid hardship. A resilient person learns how to stay steady inside it. Life will always bring moments that test your patience. Plans will change. People will disappoint you. Some efforts will take longer than expected. Some doors will stay closed. These moments are not signs that you are failing as a person. They are part of the process of becoming stronger. What matters is whether you allow those moments to weaken your character or whether you use them to deepen it. Consistent effort is one of the greatest builders of resilience because it teaches the mind that progress does not depend on perfect conditions. You learn to work while tired. You learn to continue when results are delayed. You learn to keep your standards even when the mood is low. Every time you do this, you become less fragile. The mind starts to trust itself. It no longer falls apart at the first sign of discomfort. It understands that difficulty is not the same as defeat. Self-discipline gives resilience its structure. Without discipline, effort becomes random. With discipline, effort becomes dependable. Discipline tells you when to begin, how to stay focused, and when to continue after the excitement has faded. It gives your days shape. It keeps you aligned with what matters when emotions try to pull you elsewhere. A disciplined person does not wait until life becomes easy before acting with seriousness. They act with seriousness because they know life will not always be easy. One of the most powerful ways to build resilience is to keep small promises to yourself. Wake up when you said you would. Finish the task you started. Keep your word even when no one else knows whether you kept it. These small acts matter more than they seem. They build inner trust. When you repeatedly prove to yourself that you can follow through, you develop a quiet confidence that becomes harder to shake. You stop seeing yourself as someone who only acts when things feel good. You begin to see yourself as someone who can be counted on. Resilience also grows through recovery. A strong person is not the one who never feels tired. A strong person is the one who knows how to recover and then return. Rest is not weakness. It is part of endurance. If you drive a body and mind without proper recovery, the strain eventually shows. Sleep, quiet time, reflection, movement, and healthy habits all support resilience. They allow you to keep going without burning out. A sustainable life is more valuable than a frantic one. Discipline becomes especially important when disappointment appears. There will be times when you work hard and do not get the outcome you expected. That can be painful. But disappointment does not mean your effort was wasted. It means you have information now that you did not have before. Maybe your timing was off. Maybe your approach needs improvement. Maybe your preparation was incomplete. A resilient mind studies the situation instead of surrendering to it. It asks, "What can I learn here?" rather than, "Why did this happen to me?" This shift in perspective changes everything. Pain becomes useful when it is paired with reflection. Effort becomes meaningful when it is paired with learning. Even failure can strengthen you when you refuse to make it final. Some of the most resilient people are not the ones who avoided mistakes. They are the ones who learned how to continue after them. They did not waste energy trying to protect their image. They focused on getting better. You strengthen resilience by doing hard things on purpose, not dangerous things, not foolish things. Useful things that require patience, focus, and follow through. Finish a project that feels tiring. Stick with a workout when your body wants to stop too early. Study a skill that challenges your thinking. Have a necessary conversation instead of avoiding it. These acts train your mind to stay present under pressure. They teach you that discomfort can be handled. That lesson is important because many people collapse not from the size of the problem, but from their belief that they cannot endure it. Another part of resilience is emotional control. Emotions are real, and they matter, but they should not become your master. You will feel frustration, sadness, fear, and discouragement at different times. That is normal. What matters is how long you remain under their influence. A disciplined person learns how to notice emotion without letting it make every decision. They pause before reacting. They breathe before speaking. They think before surrendering. This creates space between pressure and response, and that space is where strength grows. Consistency matters because resilience is not built through occasional bursts. It is built through repeated behavior. One strong day does not create a strong life. Many steady days do. When you continue showing up, you develop a deeper kind of confidence. You begin to trust the process even when it is slow. You learn that strength is not a feeling. It is a pattern. The more often you return to the work, the more natural resilience becomes. Your environment can either support or weaken this process. A disorganized space, a chaotic schedule, or constant noise can make it harder to remain steady. Create conditions that help you stay focused. Keep your area simple. Reduce unnecessary demands. Protect the time you need to think and work. Structure helps discipline. Structure helps resilience. It gives the mind fewer reasons to scatter. It is also important to remember that resilience does not mean pretending everything is fine. It means facing reality without collapsing under it. You can admit that something is hard and still remain committed. You can feel the weight of a situation and still move forward with care. This is not denial. This is strength. Mature resilience makes room for truth while refusing to give in to despair. A resilient life is built one decision at a time. You choose effort over avoidance. You choose patience over panic. You choose responsibility over blame. You choose to continue when quitting would be easier. Each choice shapes your character. Over time, you become less dependent on circumstances and more grounded in your own discipline. That is a powerful change. It means your peace is no longer controlled by every temporary setback. There will be days when the path feels heavy. On those days, do not demand perfection from yourself. Ask only for honest effort. One useful step is enough to keep momentum alive. One completed task can restore confidence. One disciplined response can change the tone of the day. Resilience often grows in these small returns to purpose. You may not feel strong at first, but strength often arrives after action, not before it. A person who builds resilience through consistent effort becomes harder to break and easier to trust. They are not shaken by every delay. They do not quit at the first sign of resistance. They know how to remain steady, adjust when needed, and continue with dignity. That kind of character creates long-term success because it survives the seasons that defeat weaker habits. Keep going when progress is quiet. Keep working when results take time. Keep showing up when the mood is low. Keep your word to yourself. Keep your standards high. Keep your mind clear. Keep your efforts steady. This is how resilience is formed, not by one dramatic moment, but by the quiet strength of consistent effort and self-discipline, repeated over time until it becomes part of who you are. Chapter 80. Replace negative thoughts with empowering growth-driven beliefs. Every thought shapes the reality you experience. Thoughts are not passive. They influence actions, emotions, and decisions. Negative thoughts limit potential by creating doubt, fear and hesitation. They convince the mind that failure is inevitable or that obstacles are insurmountable. A person who allows these patterns to dominate will find growth difficult. Change begins when you actively replace limiting thoughts with beliefs that empower progress and focus on what can be achieved. This process transforms not just mindset but behavior and outcomes. The first step is awareness. You must notice negative thoughts as they occur. Pay attention to the language in your mind. Are you telling yourself that you cannot do something? Are you assuming failure before trying? Are you criticizing yourself harshly for mistakes? Observing these patterns without judgment is critical. Awareness alone begins the process of change. You cannot replace a thought you do not recognize, and ignoring them only strengthens their influence. Once you identify negative thinking, challenge it directly. Ask whether the thought reflects reality or assumption. Question whether evidence supports the claim. Many negative beliefs are exaggerated or entirely untrue. For example, thinking you always fail at a task often ignores past successes. By questioning the validity of limiting thoughts, you create space to replace them with evidence-based, constructive beliefs. This habit strengthens critical thinking and builds resilience. Replace each negative thought with an empowering alternative. This does not mean pretending challenges do not exist. It means shifting perspective to what is possible and actionable. Instead of thinking, "I will fail," try, "I can learn and improve with effort." Instead of, "I am not capable," replace it with, "I can develop skills through practice and focus." These statements do not ignore reality. They acknowledge it while focusing on opportunity and growth. Repetition is essential for rewiring thought patterns. The mind strengthens neural pathways that are used consistently. If you replace limiting beliefs only occasionally, old habits will dominate. Daily practice is necessary. Affirm positive beliefs each morning or before challenging tasks. When negative thoughts arise, immediately counter them with constructive alternatives. Over time, your mind begins to default toward growth-oriented thinking, reducing hesitation and doubt. Language matters greatly. The words you use internally carry energy. Harsh, absolute terms create rigidity. Flexible, action-oriented language creates possibility. Replace "I can't" with "I am learning to" or "I am developing the ability to." Replace "I must" with "I choose to." These subtle shifts support a mindset that is proactive, resilient, and open to learning. Words are tools. Using them deliberately empowers progress. Surrounding yourself with growth-oriented input reinforces new beliefs. The environment shapes thought patterns. Avoid constant exposure to negativity, whether through media, conversations, or social influence. Seek sources of ideas that inspire problem-solving, resilience, and knowledge. Books, podcasts, mentors, and communities that prioritize growth accelerate mental transformation. Positive beliefs thrive where negativity is limited and constructive influence is abundant. Visualization strengthens the replacement process. Imagine yourself acting confidently and effectively in situations where you would normally doubt yourself. Visualize overcoming obstacles and achieving goals. When your mind repeatedly experiences these mental rehearsals, it builds confidence and prepares you for real action. Visualization is not fantasy, it is training the brain to respond with capability and calm under pressure. Behavior reinforces belief. Act in ways that reflect the empowering thoughts you wish to maintain. Small actions that align with positive beliefs provide evidence to your mind that these beliefs are valid. For example, if you believe you can improve a skill, spend time practicing it daily. Each successful step strengthens the neural and emotional connection between belief and reality, making doubt less influential over time. Mindfulness supports transformation. When you maintain present awareness, you can detect automatic negative thoughts before they dominate your reactions. Mindfulness allows you to pause, observe the thought, and choose how to respond instead of reacting unconsciously. This deliberate attention strengthens mental control and increases the ability to replace disempowering thoughts with constructive ones. Challenge deeply ingrained beliefs gradually. Some thoughts have existed for years and may feel permanent. Do not expect instant change. Use evidence, reflection, and practice to slowly weaken old patterns. Replace one belief at a time if necessary. focusing on those that most limit action. Each shift creates momentum that makes subsequent changes easier. Over time, your mindset becomes increasingly oriented toward growth. Emotions can amplify negative thinking. When stress, fear, or frustration appears, the mind often interprets it as proof that limitations are real. Recognize that emotion is a signal, not a verdict. Combine emotional awareness with deliberate thought replacement. Calmly counter negative assumptions with rational, constructive alternatives. Over time, emotional responses align more closely with empowering beliefs. Set specific reminders to reinforce growth beliefs. Write statements, place notes in visible areas, or use digital reminders to prompt positive thinking. These cues act as reinforcement when negative thoughts try to take over. The brain benefits from repetition and consistency. Visual or written reminders create extra reinforcement in daily life. This approach builds both awareness and habit. Accountability amplifies belief change. Share your growth goals with trusted individuals who encourage constructive thinking. Discuss your challenges and thought patterns openly. External feedback reinforces internal work and provides perspective on where negative beliefs persist. Others can help you notice blind spots and validate your efforts toward mental transformation. Celebrate progress, no matter how small. Each instance where a negative thought is successfully replaced is a victory. Recognition strengthens belief that change is possible. Momentum builds when the mind notices evidence of improvement. Small wins accumulate into larger shifts, reinforcing growth-driven thinking and self-confidence over time. Reflect regularly on mental patterns. Take time each week to review the thoughts that dominated your mind. Identify which negative beliefs persisted and which were successfully replaced. Use these reflections to refine your strategies. Self-monitoring ensures the replacement process is active, deliberate, and evolving rather than passive. Awareness plus action accelerates growth. Replace comparison with curiosity. Many negative thoughts emerge from comparing yourself to others. Instead of measuring against someone else, focus on learning, experimenting, and developing your own skills. Curiosity encourages exploration and understanding rather than envy or fear. A mindset grounded in personal development minimizes destructive thinking and maximizes constructive action. Consistency in thought replacement builds identity. As new beliefs take root, they shape how you see yourself. You begin to act in ways that reinforce growth-driven thinking naturally. Positive beliefs become internal standards, guiding decisions, effort, and resilience. Over time, this identity shift stabilizes mental patterns and improves outcomes without constant conscious effort. Practice gratitude alongside growth-focused thinking. Recognizing achievements, strengths, and opportunities reinforces constructive beliefs. Gratitude trains the mind to focus on what is present and possible rather than on limitations. Combined with active thought replacement, gratitude strengthens optimism and practical motivation. Belief change is a skill. Like any skill, it improves with consistent practice, reflection, and application. Approach it with patience. Track progress. Adjust techniques when needed. Persist even when setbacks occur. The mind gradually becomes aligned with beliefs that support effort, learning, and achievement, reducing the influence of negativity over time. Replacing negative thoughts with empowering beliefs transforms both thinking and living. It creates clarity, confidence, and the ability to act decisively. It strengthens resilience, sharpens focus, and enhances performance. Daily attention to mental habits turns small choices into lasting transformation. Each empowered thought builds the foundation for personal growth and expands the range of what you can achieve. A consistent focus on constructive belief allows potential to emerge fully, shaping a life defined by intentional action and continuous improvement. Chapter 9Z. Take responsibility for your life and future outcomes. Taking full responsibility for your life is one of the most powerful choices you can make. Many people live as if circumstances, luck, or other people are in control of their outcomes. They blame situations for their problems, attribute failures to external factors, or wait for someone else to fix their challenges. This mindset limits growth and keeps potential locked behind excuses. Real progress begins when you recognize that your choices, actions, and reactions determine the direction of your life. Responsibility is not about blame, it is about ownership and control. When you accept ownership, you regain the power to influence every aspect of your future. The first step toward responsibility is honest self-reflection. Examine how your decisions have led to current circumstances. Avoid sugarcoating or rationalizing. Look at actions you took and actions you avoided. Consider patterns that have repeated over time. Understanding the truth about your role in creating your reality gives you clarity. Without this clarity, change is difficult because you cannot adjust what you do not see. Reflection builds insight, and insight builds the ability to act decisively. Next, stop blaming external factors. Situations will never be perfect. People may disappoint you. Opportunities may be limited at times. While these factors exist, they are not the primary reason for your results. The consistent driver is your response. You have the choice to adapt, learn, and persist. Each response builds or diminishes progress. By focusing on what you can control rather than what you cannot, you take charge of your life. Control comes through deliberate action, not complaint. Responsibility requires accepting consequences, both positive and negative. When things go well, recognize your contribution. Celebrate effort and strategy. When things do not go as planned, avoid excuses. Analyze what went wrong and determine what to do differently. Taking responsibility for mistakes accelerates learning. Each failure becomes a teacher, each setback a guide. People who evade responsibility stagnate, while those who embrace it grow stronger and wiser. Decisive action is a natural extension of responsibility. Ownership without action is empty. Commit to making choices that align with your goals and values. Procrastination is a refusal to accept responsibility. It allows life to happen to you rather than for you. When you act deliberately, you create momentum. Each step reinforces the principle that your life responds to your initiative. Action converts potential into measurable outcomes and shapes the future you desire. Goal setting strengthens ownership. Identify what you want to achieve in the short and long term. Clearly defined goals give direction to decisions and focus to effort. Responsibility is easier to maintain when you have a target. Goals turn vague intentions into tangible outcomes. Each choice then becomes an opportunity to move closer to what matters most. Without goals, responsibility is abstract. With goals, it is actionable and measurable. Self-discipline underpins responsible living. Responsibility requires following through on commitments, even when it is difficult or inconvenient. Habits and routines support consistent action. Completing tasks and honoring promises reinforces trust in yourself. Discipline ensures that taking ownership is not dependent on motivation alone. It transforms responsibility from an idea into a daily practice that shapes your character. Learning from experience reinforces responsibility. Every decision provides feedback. Success shows effective strategies. Failure exposes mistakes. Observing patterns in your actions allows you to refine your approach. Life becomes a continuous experiment where you adjust and improve. People who fail to take responsibility often ignore lessons and repeat errors. Those who embrace it grow wiser faster because they integrate insights into future choices. Accountability strengthens personal ownership. Hold yourself accountable for progress and setbacks. Track actions, review outcomes, and evaluate decisions regularly. When you commit to reviewing results honestly, you prevent denial and stagnation. Accountability also motivates persistence, ensuring that you maintain momentum even when challenges appear. Responsibility is reinforced when the mind recognizes that choices have measurable impact. Responsibility extends to your thoughts and beliefs. Negative assumptions or victim thinking undermine action. Recognize limiting thoughts and actively replace them with growth-oriented beliefs. Your internal mindset drives external behavior. Taking ownership of your mental state ensures that beliefs support rather than hinder progress. Empowering thoughts lead to empowered decisions and a proactive approach to life. Resilience is intertwined with responsibility. Life will present obstacles beyond your control. Ownership does not mean expecting life to be easy. It means committing to navigate difficulties with focus, patience, and determination. Each challenge becomes an opportunity to strengthen skill, character, and resolve. By acting responsibly during adversity, you demonstrate the power of self direction and develop confidence in your ability to overcome future challenges. Time management is a critical aspect of taking ownership. How you spend each day determines long-term outcomes. Prioritize activities that align with goals and values. Avoid distractions and low-value commitments that drain energy. Responsible individuals recognize that every hour is an opportunity to move forward. Deliberate use of time reinforces control over results and diminishes the influence of external forces. Responsibility also requires clarity in decision-making. Indecision allows circumstances to dictate outcomes. Weigh options based on values, goals, and evidence. Make choices confidently and act on them. Even imperfect decisions provide lessons when combined with reflection. Hesitation reduces ownership, while timely, informed decisions increase control over life's direction. Seek knowledge to enhance responsible action. The more you understand your environment, opportunities, and yourself, the better your decisions will be. Informed choices produce predictable results. Ignorance weakens ownership, while curiosity strengthens it. Responsibility grows when you commit to continuous learning and self-improvement, ensuring that decisions are guided by insight rather than assumption. Commit to long-term vision. Responsibility is not about short-term comfort. It is about shaping a life that reflects your values, goals, and potential. Each choice contributes to cumulative results. Viewing life through the lens of long-term outcomes encourages persistence, patience, and deliberate action. This perspective transforms responsibility from reaction to strategy, guiding behavior consistently toward meaningful achievement. Responsibility involves integrity. Align words with actions. Follow through on promises. Honor commitments, even when no one observes. Integrity reinforces self-respect and ensures that others can trust you. Character becomes a natural extension of ownership, solidifying influence over your life circumstances and supporting meaningful relationships. Embrace challenges as tests of ownership. Every difficulty offers a choice: to act responsibly or to blame, avoid, and complain. Choosing the former strengthens ability and reinforces control. The latter weakens character and perpetuates limitation. Life rewards consistent responsibility more than temporary convenience or avoidance. Taking responsibility empowers freedom. Paradoxically, accepting ownership of life's outcomes increases autonomy. When you stop blaming others and external circumstances, you stop giving them control over your results. Every choice you make becomes a tool to shape reality. Freedom comes from recognizing the power inherent in your own actions and using it deliberately. Reflection reinforces the habit of ownership. Regularly review decisions, actions, and results. Identify areas where responsibility was strong and where it was weak. Adjust behavior accordingly. Reflection ensures continuous growth, keeps awareness sharp, and prevents unconscious drift into excuses or passivity. A life defined by responsibility is purposeful. You act with intention, make informed choices, and face consequences courageously. You develop resilience, confidence, and clarity. You move forward consistently because your results are in your own hands. You no longer wait for luck or circumstance to determine your future. You create it intentionally, one decision and one action at a time. When responsibility becomes natural, you no longer feel victimized by challenges or external setbacks. You respond with agency. You act with focus. You align effort with goals. Each day becomes an opportunity to build the life you want. Accountability, discipline, and reflection ensure that the direction is yours. Taking responsibility for your life and future outcomes is the foundation for meaningful achievement, lasting growth, and genuine self-mastery. Chapter 100: Strengthen mental endurance by completing difficult tasks daily. Mental endurance is the ability to stay focused, committed, and effective even when tasks feel uncomfortable, difficult, or overwhelming. It is the foundation of resilience, personal growth, and consistent achievement. People often avoid challenges because they bring discomfort, uncertainty, or fatigue. This avoidance may feel easier in the short term, but it limits potential, slows progress, and weakens confidence. Endurance is built through repeated exposure to difficulty, through deliberate effort, and through the consistent practice of completing tasks that test your limits. Each time you face a challenge and finish it, your mind adapts, becoming stronger, sharper, and more capable of handling future pressure. The first step in strengthening mental endurance is committing to face tasks you would normally postpone or avoid. Avoidance reduces opportunity, weakens discipline, and fosters mental fragility. By intentionally choosing to tackle challenging work, you train your mind to act even when it is uncomfortable. Discomfort becomes a signal for growth rather than a reason to quit. This shift in perspective transforms the way challenges are experienced, making them opportunities to expand capability instead of obstacles to avoid. Consistency is critical. Completing a difficult task once creates a temporary sense of accomplishment, but it does not build lasting endurance. Mental endurance requires repetition. Each day, take on at least one challenging task that pushes your limits. This could be a demanding project, a complex problem, or a skill that requires effort to master. Daily practice strengthens focus, builds patience, and trains the brain to remain engaged under strain. Over time, the mind becomes more tolerant of difficulty and fatigue, reducing the psychological resistance that typically accompanies challenging work. Breaking difficult tasks into manageable steps helps sustain effort without losing momentum. Large tasks can feel overwhelming, causing hesitation or procrastination. Identify clear, actionable steps that lead to completion. Focus on progress rather than perfection. Each small step builds confidence, reduces mental friction, and strengthens commitment. Completing incremental tasks accumulates into significant results while reinforcing the habit of finishing what is started. The mind learns that persistence leads to success. Discipline underlies mental endurance. Motivation fluctuates and cannot be relied upon to sustain performance. Discipline ensures consistent action, independent of mood or energy levels. Create routines that support difficult work, such as dedicated time blocks, structured plans, or environmental controls that minimize distractions. The act of showing up regularly builds mental stamina because the mind grows accustomed to sustained effort without relying on external cues or temporary feelings of motivation. Embracing discomfort is a central principle. Difficult tasks often trigger stress, frustration, or fatigue. Mental endurance grows when you do not flee from these sensations but learn to operate through them. Acknowledge the discomfort, focus on the task, and continue despite the challenge. Each experience of tolerating and completing work under stress strengthens neural pathways associated with focus, persistence, and self-control. Over time, challenges feel more manageable, and mental fatigue becomes less paralyzing. Reflection enhances the process. After completing a difficult task, take time to assess what worked, what required extra effort, and what could be improved. Honest evaluation allows you to refine strategy, reduce future resistance, and recognize progress. Reflection also reinforces self-belief by highlighting the fact that you have successfully navigated difficulty before, making future challenges less intimidating. Endurance grows not only from effort but from understanding how effort transforms results. Mental endurance also requires managing attention effectively. Focused attention strengthens the mind in ways scattered effort does not. Remove distractions from your environment, eliminate unnecessary interruptions, and cultivate the ability to concentrate on one task at a time. Attention is a finite resource, and directing it intentionally toward challenging work builds cognitive strength. Practicing sustained focus during difficult tasks makes it easier to maintain effort over longer periods without succumbing to mental fatigue. Goal alignment increases commitment. When difficult tasks are connected to meaningful outcomes, they become motivating despite their challenge. Understanding why a task matters provides context that fuels persistence. This alignment reduces resistance because the effort is tied to a larger purpose. Mental endurance is amplified when work is intentional and linked to personal values, long-term goals, or skill development. Purpose gives meaning to discomfort, turning resistance into opportunity. Mental endurance develops resilience to frustration and setbacks. Not every attempt will succeed immediately. Some tasks may require repeated effort before completion. Treat setbacks as feedback rather than failure. Adjust strategy, continue practicing, and maintain persistence. The ability to continue despite obstacles strengthens not only skill but also confidence and emotional control. Over time, The mind becomes less reactive to difficulty and more capable of sustained, purposeful action. Visualization and mental rehearsal can support endurance. Mentally anticipate the challenges a task may present and imagine successfully completing it. This prepares the mind for obstacles and reduces anxiety. Mental rehearsal creates neural patterns that mirror actual performance, making real-world effort feel more attainable. Visualization combined with deliberate action strengthens confidence, focus, and the ability to endure sustained effort. Tracking progress reinforces endurance habits. Keeping a record of completed difficult tasks provides tangible evidence of capability. Review accomplishments regularly to observe patterns of success, recognize improvement, and celebrate consistency. This practice strengthens belief in your ability to persevere, which becomes self-reinforcing. Confidence and persistence grow when the mind is reminded of previous victories, reinforcing the habit of finishing tasks regardless of difficulty. Physical well-being contributes to mental endurance. Fatigue, hunger, or lack of exercise can reduce concentration and increase susceptibility to stress. Maintain energy through proper rest, nutrition, and movement. A healthy body supports sustained cognitive effort. Endurance is easier to cultivate when mental and physical states are aligned, allowing focus and persistence to operate at higher levels for longer periods. Accountability accelerates the development of endurance. Share goals with trusted individuals or mentors who expect follow-through. External expectations create additional incentive to complete difficult tasks. Accountability ensures you maintain consistency, track progress, and resist avoidance. The combination of internal discipline and external reinforcement strengthens mental toughness and habitual follow-through. Resilience is a byproduct of completing difficult tasks. Each successful completion proves to the mind that challenges are manageable. Confidence grows in your ability to handle adversity. Fear of difficulty diminishes because experience demonstrates capability. Endurance and resilience feed each other. The more you persist, the stronger your capacity to face future obstacles without hesitation or anxiety. Daily practice cements endurance into identity. When challenging tasks are regularly completed, persistence and focus become ingrained traits rather than occasional behaviors. You begin to see yourself as someone who can handle pressure, maintain discipline, and finish what you start. Identity-based endurance ensures that behavior aligns with long-term growth automatically, reducing reliance on willpower alone. Incremental increases in difficulty accelerate growth. Gradually exposing yourself to tasks that stretch your limits allows the mind to adapt without becoming overwhelmed. Increasing challenge over time strengthens capabilities steadily, creating confidence and expanding your range of competence. Endurance grows through repeated, progressively more difficult experiences that push boundaries without breaking resolve. Mental endurance is cultivated by embracing responsibility, facing discomfort, and consistently finishing what you start. Each day you commit to difficult tasks, the mind becomes stronger, sharper, and more resilient. Challenges that once seemed intimidating transform into manageable experiences. Focus improves, confidence grows, and self-discipline deepens. Over time, completing difficult tasks becomes habitual, reinforcing a mindset capable of sustained effort, unwavering persistence, and high achievement. Chapter 11. Set clear goals that stretch your current abilities. Setting clear goals that push your current abilities is essential for personal growth and long-term success. Goals are not simply wishes or vague intentions. They are precise targets that give direction to effort, focus to decisions, and structure to daily actions. Without clear goals, energy disperses aimlessly, and progress becomes inconsistent. Defining objectives that challenge your current level of skill or understanding creates tension in a constructive way. This tension motivates improvement and compels learning, forcing you to move beyond comfort and habitual patterns. Stretch goals ignite potential because they are just beyond what you can achieve effortlessly, requiring new strategies, focus, and perseverance. The first step in effective goal setting is clarity. Be specific about what you want to achieve. Ambiguity undermines commitment and reduces motivation. Instead of thinking, "I want to get better at my work," specify measurable results such as, I will complete 3 advanced projects this quarter with measurable outcomes. Precise targets eliminate guesswork and provide a clear standard for performance. When you see exactly what is required, your mind knows where to direct energy and attention, increasing efficiency and consistency in action. Stretch goals should challenge without overwhelming. If a goal is too easy, it does not trigger growth. If it is too difficult, it risks discouragement and disengagement. Assess your current abilities honestly and set objectives slightly beyond them. The optimal challenge stretches skills while remaining achievable with effort, planning, and dedication. These goals create a balance between ambition and realism, maintaining motivation while pushing boundaries. Break each goal into actionable steps. Large objectives can feel abstract or intimidating. By dividing a goal into smaller tasks, you create a roadmap that is manageable and measurable. Each step completed provides momentum and reinforces confidence. Incremental progress builds a sense of accomplishment while keeping focus on the larger goal. The combination of stretch and structure enables consistent forward motion without succumbing to overwhelm or procrastination. Commitment to goals is essential. Clear goals are ineffective without consistent action. Dedicate time, energy, and resources toward your objectives. Make them priorities in daily life rather than optional projects. Accountability, whether to yourself or a mentor, enhances consistency and reinforces ownership. Commitment transforms intention into results because repeated action compounds into meaningful progress over time. Visualization strengthens the connection between goal and effort. Mentally rehearsing successful completion of tasks prepares the brain to act confidently in real situations. Imagine the steps required to reach the goal, anticipate obstacles, and visualize overcoming them effectively. This mental preparation improves focus, reduces anxiety, and trains the mind to persist when challenges arise. Rehearsal builds confidence, making difficult steps feel achievable when they are encountered in practice. Goals must be aligned with values and long-term vision. Stretch objectives that do not matter to you personally will not sustain effort. Evaluate why the goal is important and what it will contribute to growth, fulfillment, or impact. When goals connect to purpose, effort becomes meaningful and perseverance is easier to maintain. Alignment ensures that progress leads to outcomes that are truly valuable rather than fleeting or superficial achievements. Monitor progress regularly. Assess the steps you have taken, analyze results, and adjust strategies as needed. Measurement provides feedback that informs decision-making and highlights areas for improvement. Tracking progress ensures that efforts remain focused and adaptive, preventing drift or wasted energy. Regular review also reinforces motivation by making advancement tangible and visible. Stretch goals often require skill development. Identify the abilities needed to achieve objectives and invest in learning and practice. Developing expertise may include studying, mentoring, training, or deliberate practice. Each new skill learned not only contributes to the current goal, but also strengthens capacity for future challenges. Continuous skill acquisition amplifies effectiveness and accelerates progress toward higher-level objectives. Persistence is critical. Goals that challenge current abilities will test patience, effort, and resilience. Temporary setbacks are inevitable, but they should be viewed as information rather than failure. Adjustments, learning, and continued effort are necessary components of progress. Endurance combined with strategic action ensures that obstacles do not derail momentum. Mental toughness is developed alongside practical skills when challenges are met consistently. Focus on the process as well as the outcome. While the result is the target, how you approach the work matters equally. Building effective habits, routines, and systems aligned with the goal ensures sustainable performance. Daily practice, deliberate planning, and disciplined effort form the foundation upon which ambitious objectives can be achieved. Process orientation also reduces stress and maintains motivation because progress is recognized continuously, not just at the endpoint. Flexibility improves execution. Stretch goals often require adaptation as circumstances change or as new information emerges. Remaining rigid can lead to frustration and stagnation. Evaluate strategies periodically and adjust methods while keeping the outcome in sight. Flexibility allows the mind to respond intelligently to challenges while maintaining commitment to the ultimate objective. Self-reflection enhances learning from the pursuit of challenging goals. Examine what approaches succeeded, what obstacles were encountered, and how strategies could be improved. Reflection ensures that each goal pursuit leaves behind skills, insight, and experience that reinforce future growth. The lessons gained from stretch goals are as valuable as the outcomes themselves, creating compounding benefits over time. Goals should be ambitious enough to trigger creativity and problem-solving. When tasks exceed current abilities, conventional methods may not suffice. The mind is forced to explore new techniques, innovate, and adapt. This process strengthens cognitive flexibility and develops resilience because challenges cannot be avoided, only solved. Stretch goals act as catalysts for expanding mental capacity and strategic thinking. Celebrate milestones along the way. Recognizing intermediate achievements reinforces motivation and sustains engagement. Each completed step confirms that effort produces results and builds confidence to tackle the next challenge. Celebrating progress strengthens the connection between effort and reward, making it easier to persist when tasks become difficult or tiring. Commit to accountability. Share goals with trusted mentors, peers, or a support network. External accountability enhances follow-through and provides constructive feedback. Others can offer perspective on obstacles, celebrate successes, and help maintain focus. Accountability strengthens the likelihood of completing challenging goals and reinforces a mindset of ownership and responsibility. Balance ambition with self-care. Stretch goals require energy, focus, and effort. Maintaining physical and mental well-being ensures sustained performance. Adequate rest, nutrition, movement, and stress management support cognitive function and persistence. Endurance and resilience are reinforced when the body and mind are maintained alongside the pursuit of challenging objectives. Embrace failure as part of the process. Goals that stretch abilities inevitably include mistakes or setbacks. Failure provides critical information for adjustment, learning, and skill development. Approach challenges with curiosity rather than fear, and view obstacles as temporary rather than permanent. Learning from errors accelerates progress and strengthens confidence in future pursuits. Clarity, challenge, and action work together to maximize growth. Clear goals provide direction, stretch objectives create tension for development, and consistent, deliberate effort translates intention into measurable progress. Each completed task and each lesson learned reinforces the ability to take on increasingly difficult challenges. Over time, this practice expands capability, builds confidence, and cultivates a mindset capable of pursuing ambitious objectives with discipline and resilience. By consistently setting clear goals that stretch current abilities, you create a framework for sustained personal growth. You develop focus, persistence, adaptability, and skill. Each goal pursued strengthens confidence and mental toughness while reinforcing discipline and deliberate action. Stretch objectives guide the mind and body to exceed limitations, producing tangible results and long-term transformation. Success becomes the product of intentional effort, strategic planning, and consistent movement toward objectives that expand your potential, shaping a life of achievement, capability, and continuous improvement. Chapter 12. Practice self-awareness to improve decisions and actions. Self-awareness is the foundation of personal growth and effective decision-making. It allows you to understand your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors with clarity and objectivity. People often act on autopilot, reacting to situations without examining why they feel or respond in certain ways. Without awareness, actions are driven by habit, fear, or external influence rather than conscious choice. By developing self-awareness, you gain insight into patterns that shape your life and learn to make decisions that align with your goals, values, and potential. Awareness transforms reactive behavior into intentional action, improving outcomes in every area of life. The first step is observation. Pay close attention to your internal dialogue and emotional responses. Notice how you feel in various situations and how those feelings influence decisions. Observe recurring thought patterns that either support growth or limit potential. Recording thoughts, reactions, and decisions in a journal can create clarity and highlight trends that might otherwise go unnoticed. Observation without judgment allows you to see yourself honestly, forming the basis for meaningful change. Understanding triggers is essential. Every emotion or reaction has a source. Identify the situations, people, or ideas that provoke certain feelings. Recognize the triggers that cause stress, frustration, or fear, and those that generate motivation, focus, and confidence. Once triggers are known, you can prepare for them, respond consciously, and avoid being controlled by automatic reactions. Awareness of triggers gives you the ability to manage emotional and cognitive responses effectively. Reflection enhances self-awareness. Regularly review decisions, actions, and outcomes to identify strengths and weaknesses. Ask questions such as, "Why did I respond this way?" or "What motivated my choice?" Honest reflection helps isolate behaviors that produce success and those that hinder progress. It also reveals biases and assumptions that influence decisions unconsciously. Reflection transforms experience into insight, allowing the mind to learn from the past and apply lessons to future situations. Feedback is a valuable tool. Seek input from trusted peers, mentors, or colleagues who can provide perspectives you might overlook. External feedback can highlight blind spots and reveal patterns in behavior or decision making that are invisible from within. Receiving feedback with openness and curiosity strengthens self-awareness and provides actionable guidance for improvement. The combination of internal observation and external input accelerates growth. Recognize emotional patterns. Emotions have significant influence on choices and behavior. Self-awareness includes identifying recurring emotional states and understanding their origins. Notice how anger, anxiety, excitement, or frustration shape your actions. By acknowledging and naming these emotions, you gain control over them. Emotional awareness enables deliberate responses instead of impulsive reactions, enhancing both decision quality and interpersonal interactions. Mindfulness supports continuous awareness. Being fully present in each moment allows you to notice thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations without distraction or judgment. Mindfulness develops the ability to pause, consider options, and respond thoughtfully. Regular mindfulness practice strengthens attention, reduces impulsivity, and deepens understanding of how internal states influence choices. It forms a habit of conscious presence that enhances clarity in all decisions. Identify personal values. Decisions are most effective when aligned with core beliefs and priorities. Self-awareness includes recognizing what truly matters and how actions reflect those values. When you understand your principles, choices become consistent, deliberate, and purposeful. Values act as a compass, guiding behavior and providing clarity when faced with difficult decisions or ethical dilemmas. Awareness of values ensures that actions are not merely reactive, but intentionally aligned with what you stand for. Recognize strengths and weaknesses. Self-awareness allows honest evaluation of capabilities and limitations. Understanding what you do well and where improvement is needed enables strategic decision-making. Leveraging strengths enhances performance and efficiency. Addressing weaknesses proactively reduces the risk of repeated mistakes and prepares the mind to adapt. Balanced self-assessment strengthens confidence and reduces overestimation or underestimation of abilities. Develop metacognition, or thinking about thinking. Notice not only what you think, but how you arrive at conclusions. Examine biases, assumptions, and reasoning patterns that shape judgment. Metacognitive awareness allows you to adjust strategies, challenge faulty logic, and make better, informed decisions. It deepens insight into cognitive processes and improves problem-solving ability. Understanding your own mind strengthens adaptability, critical thinking, and strategic planning. Practice accountability to reinforce self-awareness. Accept responsibility for decisions, actions, and outcomes. Review results honestly and identify where choices aligned or deviated from intentions. Accountability ensures that self-awareness translates into action rather than passive observation. It strengthens integrity and provides a foundation for continuous personal improvement. Set aside time for intentional evaluation. Busy schedules often prevent reflection and clarity. Dedicate periods each day or week to review goals, choices, and behaviors. Use these sessions to identify patterns, assess progress, and refine strategies. Intentional evaluation integrates self-awareness into daily life, making it a practical tool rather than a conceptual idea. Regular practice ensures that awareness remains active and influential in shaping behavior. Challenge assumptions. Many decisions are influenced by ingrained beliefs or habitual thinking. Question assumptions about yourself, others, and the world. Evaluate whether these beliefs are accurate, helpful, or limiting. Replacing unproductive assumptions with reasoned understanding enhances decision quality and opens the mind to possibilities that were previously overlooked. Critical examination of beliefs strengthens both judgment and adaptability. Monitor thought patterns under stress. High-pressure situations often reveal true mental habits. Observe how the mind reacts when challenged, pressured, or uncertain. Self-awareness in these moments identifies tendencies toward fear, procrastination, or rash decisions. Recognizing these patterns allows preparation and conscious adjustment, improving both performance and resilience under pressure. Awareness under stress is essential for consistent, effective action. Self-awareness extends to interpersonal interactions. Notice how you communicate, respond to feedback, and influence others. Recognize the impact of behavior and tone on relationships. Understanding these dynamics enables better collaboration, leadership, and conflict management. Awareness of social patterns improves communication effectiveness and strengthens professional and personal connections. Set measurable indicators of progress. Awareness is enhanced when outcomes can be observed objectively. Track decisions, actions, and results to quantify growth. Evidence-based evaluation reduces reliance on perception alone and reinforces learning. Objective tracking also provides motivation, showing clear improvement over time and validating self-reflective practices. Self-awareness is not static, it evolves with practice. Each insight builds on previous understanding, gradually refining perception and judgment. The more consistently you observe, reflect, and adjust, the sharper your self-knowledge becomes. Continuous practice transforms awareness into a natural part of thought and behavior, enabling intentional, adaptive, and high-quality decision-making across all areas of life. By cultivating self-awareness, you gain the ability to identify patterns, control reactions, and align behavior with goals and values. Decisions become deliberate rather than reactive, actions become purposeful rather than habitual, and progress becomes consistent rather than haphazard. Self-awareness strengthens emotional intelligence, critical thinking, and personal accountability. Daily practice creates a mindset of observation, reflection, and improvement, allowing the mind to navigate challenges, seize opportunities, and maximize potential. Through persistent cultivation, self-awareness becomes the guiding force behind choices, behavior, and long-term success. Chapter 13. Expand comfort zones by trying new challenges regularly. Expanding your comfort zone is essential for continuous growth and realizing potential that otherwise remains untapped. Growth rarely happens in areas where life feels easy and predictable. Staying within familiar routines provides safety but limits opportunity, creativity, and personal development. New challenges stimulate learning, sharpen skills, and strengthen resilience by forcing the mind and body to adapt to situations that feel uncomfortable or unfamiliar. Each time a challenge is faced and overcome, confidence grows, fear diminishes, and your range of possibility expands. Embracing new experiences on a regular basis transforms hesitation into curiosity and builds a mindset capable of handling increasingly complex or demanding circumstances. The first step to expanding your comfort zone is identifying areas where you feel restricted by routine. Observe where fear, uncertainty, or habit limits action. These zones represent untapped potential and opportunities for growth. Recognizing them honestly allows you to consciously target experiences that push boundaries. Reflection on avoidance behaviors helps identify patterns that have kept progress minimal and guides intentional action toward constructive discomfort. Start with small challenges that slightly push your limits. Beginning with manageable steps prevents overwhelm while still providing valuable growth experiences. For example, speaking up in a meeting, trying a new form of exercise, or tackling a skill slightly beyond current competence introduces discomfort without creating paralysis. These small steps train the mind to tolerate uncertainty and develop confidence in navigating unfamiliar territory. Consistent practice gradually increases the threshold of comfort, making larger challenges more approachable. Regular exposure to challenges is critical. Growth is not a one-time event, it is the result of repeated effort over time. Schedule experiences that stretch your abilities into daily or weekly routines. The frequency of exposure conditions the mind to perceive novelty as an opportunity rather than a threat. Each completed challenge reinforces the habit of stepping outside comfort, strengthening adaptability and courage in the process. Adopt a mindset that values learning over immediate success. Challenges may not always result in perfect outcomes, but the act of attempting, experimenting, and persisting produces growth. Viewing new experiences as learning opportunities reduces fear of failure and increases willingness to engage. The focus shifts from avoiding mistakes to gaining knowledge, building skill, and expanding capacity. This perspective ensures that effort in unfamiliar situations is productive regardless of outcome. Set specific goals for challenging experiences. Without clear objectives, stepping outside comfort zones can feel aimless and intimidating. Goals provide structure and direction, turning abstract effort into measurable progress. Define what you intend to achieve through the challenge, whether it is acquiring a skill, improving confidence, or developing resilience. Purposeful engagement strengthens focus, maintains motivation, and makes each effort intentional rather than random. Challenge assumptions and preconceptions about what you can do. Many limitations exist only in perception. Confront beliefs about personal incapacity, fear of embarrassment, or anticipated failure by taking deliberate action. Experience disproves assumptions and replaces them with evidence of capability. Gradually, the mind learns to trust its ability to adapt, take risks, and succeed in unfamiliar situations. This creates a self-reinforcing cycle of increased confidence and willingness to embrace new challenges. Practice reflection after each challenge. Assess what went well, what required adjustment, and what lessons were learned. Reflection reinforces learning, clarifies strengths and weaknesses, and informs future action. Honest evaluation converts experience into actionable insight, enhancing growth. By reviewing outcomes, the mind becomes more analytical, strategic, and prepared for subsequent challenges. Seek variety in challenges. Growth is accelerated when you confront a range of experiences that stretch different abilities. Mental, physical, emotional, and social challenges all contribute to overall development. By diversifying experiences, you strengthen versatility, problem-solving skills, and adaptability. Variety ensures that expansion of the comfort zone is holistic rather than limited to a single domain, producing well-rounded competence and confidence. Incrementally increase difficulty. Avoid overwhelming yourself with challenges that feel impossible. Gradual progression allows the mind and body to adapt steadily, reducing stress and fostering resilience. Each step builds mastery, reinforces perseverance, and prepares you for more complex situations. A systematic approach ensures that growth is sustainable and prevents discouragement or burnout. Accountability enhances the process of stepping beyond comfort. Share your goals with someone you trust who can support, encourage, and provide perspective. Accountability strengthens commitment and helps maintain consistency in pursuing challenges. Knowing that progress is observed increases focus, determination, and follow-through, making it easier to face discomfort without retreating to familiar routines. Embrace discomfort as a signal for opportunity. Physical tension, nervousness, or uncertainty often accompany new experiences. Instead of resisting, recognize these sensations as indicators that growth is occurring. Acting despite discomfort strengthens mental fortitude and reinforces confidence. Over time, challenges become familiar territory, and the mind perceives risk as manageable rather than threatening. Learn from setbacks encountered during challenges. Not every attempt will succeed immediately. Mistakes, failures, or difficulties provide valuable feedback about strategy, skill, and mindset. Analyze outcomes objectively, adjust your approach, and persist. Each setback strengthens resilience and reinforces the habit of confronting difficulty rather than avoiding it. Growth is cumulative, and lessons gained from challenges are often more influential than initial successes. Observe how others handle challenges. Study individuals who embrace discomfort, take risks, and persist despite uncertainty. Their approaches, mindset, and techniques provide models for your own development. Learning from examples accelerates understanding of effective strategies for expansion. Exposure to other successes builds confidence that similar effort can produce results in your own life. Celebrate achievements in challenging situations. Recognizing success reinforces confidence and motivation. Even minor victories matter because they validate effort and courage. Positive reinforcement strengthens the habit of embracing discomfort and encourages continued pursuit of challenging experiences. Acknowledgement of progress prevents discouragement and highlights tangible evidence of growth over time. Develop curiosity as a companion to courage. A curious mindset transforms uncertainty from threat into exploration. Focus on what can be learned, discovered, or mastered rather than fear of failure. Curiosity motivates engagement, increases resilience, and enhances enjoyment during challenging experiences. The combination of curiosity and courage makes stepping outside comfort zones both sustainable and rewarding. Maintain consistent effort. The benefits of expanding comfort zones accumulate through repeated action. Sporadic attempts yield minimal growth. Integrate challenging experiences into daily life, ensuring continuous exposure. Over time, habitual engagement with the unfamiliar produces a mind accustomed to adaptation, resourcefulness, and sustained performance under pressure. Self-discipline reinforces growth through challenges. It ensures that action occurs regardless of fear, hesitation, or temporary lack of confidence. Discipline bridges the gap between intention and execution, making it possible to regularly confront discomfort. Each disciplined effort strengthens capability, resilience, and confidence while reinforcing the identity of someone who embraces growth through challenge. Balance risk with preparation. While stepping outside comfort zones involves uncertainty, preparation increases the likelihood of success. Equip yourself with knowledge, skills, and strategy before tackling new challenges. Preparation reduces unnecessary anxiety, supports confidence, and ensures that effort produces meaningful results. The combination of courage and preparation maximizes growth potential while minimizing wasted energy. Expanding comfort zones through regular challenges transforms mindset, skill, and confidence. Each experience strengthens resilience, broadens capability, and increases adaptability. By consistently engaging with unfamiliar situations, fear diminishes and opportunity grows. New challenges produce evidence of competence, reinforce persistence, and develop a mindset capable of thriving under pressure. Growth becomes intentional, measurable, and sustainable as the mind learns to embrace difficulty as a path to greater potential. Chapter 4: and develop confidence through preparation, learning, and consistent action. Confidence is not something that is granted or inherited. It is built through preparation, learning, and consistent action. True confidence emerges from competence, not empty self-assurance. When the mind knows it has done the work, acquired the skills, and taken deliberate steps toward mastery, confidence follows naturally. Relying on feelings alone is unreliable because emotions fluctuate and external circumstances can undermine self-belief. By intentionally preparing, learning, and acting with consistency, you create a solid foundation for lasting confidence that is independent of outside validation or temporary moods. Preparation is the first pillar of confidence. Before taking action, gather knowledge, understand the context, and anticipate possible challenges. Preparation reduces uncertainty and gives the mind a framework for responding effectively. It transforms anxiety into readiness because when the necessary groundwork has been laid, action becomes deliberate rather than reactive. Preparation includes research, planning, practicing scenarios, and organizing resources in a way that ensures competence under pressure. Being prepared signals to yourself that you are capable of managing whatever arises. Learning complements preparation by expanding skill and understanding. Confidence grows when the mind recognizes its ability to handle complexity. Continuous learning keeps abilities sharp and relevant while reinforcing belief in one's capacity to adapt. Study relevant topics, seek mentorship, and practice deliberately to strengthen skills. Learning is active rather than passive. It requires engagement, reflection, and application. When knowledge is internalized and applied, the mind gains certainty that challenges can be met successfully, and confidence becomes grounded in competence. Consistent action is the final, crucial component. Knowledge and preparation alone are insufficient without practical application. Regularly taking steps toward your objectives reinforces competence and demonstrates capability to yourself. Each completed task, no matter how small, builds evidence that you can follow through. Over time, repeated action conditions the mind to trust in its own ability to perform. Consistency transforms theoretical confidence into real-world assurance because repeated success reinforces both skill and belief. Failure is inevitable on the path to growth, but confidence built through preparation, learning, and action remains resilient. Each failure becomes an opportunity for insight rather than a blow to self-esteem. By analyzing mistakes, adjusting strategies, and trying again, the mind strengthens its sense of efficacy. Confidence grows not from avoiding challenges but from meeting them and learning from outcomes. The experience of overcoming difficulty reinforces the belief that obstacles are manageable and setbacks are temporary. Start by setting clear objectives. Confidence increases when the mind knows what it is working toward. Define specific outcomes, establish criteria for success, and determine actionable steps. Clarity of purpose allows preparation and learning to be targeted effectively, creating a direct link between effort and achievement. When objectives are clear, the path to action becomes logical, reducing hesitation and uncertainty, which are common barriers to self-assurance. Visualizing success enhances confidence further. Mentally rehearsing tasks, challenges, and interactions prepares the mind for actual performance. Visualization activates neural pathways associated with skill execution and decision-making, making real-world action feel more familiar and manageable. Imagining positive outcomes combined with practical preparation reduces fear and increases readiness. The mind begins to associate effort with success, which reinforces self-belief before action even begins. Practice deliberate repetition. Confidence grows through mastery, which requires repeated exposure and refinement. Each time a skill is practiced deliberately, performance improves and self-assurance strengthens. Repetition allows for the identification and correction of errors, reducing uncertainty over time. By consistently applying effort in meaningful ways, the mind develops a reliable expectation of success, forming the foundation for enduring confidence. Preparation should also include anticipating challenges and setbacks. Identify potential obstacles and plan responses in advance. Contingency planning reduces fear of the unknown and ensures the mind is not caught off guard. Anticipating difficulty provides a sense of control and reinforces the belief that you can navigate complexity. Confidence emerges from the understanding that even unexpected issues can be managed effectively through strategy and adaptability. Apply feedback to accelerate growth. Seek input from mentors, peers, or personal observation to understand performance gaps. Feedback guides improvement and reinforces preparation and learning. Using insights to adjust actions demonstrates capability and reinforces belief in the ability to adapt. Confidence deepens when the mind recognizes its capacity to incorporate information and learn from experience and improve performance continuously. Confidence is strengthened by incremental progress. Break larger objectives into smaller, manageable tasks. Completing these tasks consistently demonstrates capability and builds momentum. Progress reinforces the idea that effort leads to results, strengthening trust in personal ability. Incremental achievement creates a habit of success that compounds over time, solidifying self-belief as a natural byproduct of consistent accomplishment. Maintain a proactive mindset, anticipate challenges, seek opportunities for growth, and act decisively. Waiting for perfect conditions undermines confidence because it signals hesitation and dependence on external factors. A proactive approach signals to the mind that capability is reliable and adaptable. Taking initiative repeatedly strengthens the association between effort and achievement, reinforcing both skill and self-assurance. Physical presence and preparation contribute to confidence. Body language, posture, and presentation influence mental state and perception by others. Being physically prepared for situations, whether through organization, attire, or readiness, complements mental preparation. The body reinforces the mind's sense of competence, and deliberate control of physical state supports confidence in interactions and performance. Resilience amplifies confidence. Facing challenges, enduring discomfort, and persisting through difficulty confirms capability to oneself. Confidence built on resilience is less vulnerable to fluctuations in mood or external validation. By proving through action that obstacles can be overcome, the mind internalizes trust in its own capacity. Each experience of navigating difficulty reinforces the belief that future challenges are manageable. Self-awareness enhances confidence because it allows understanding of strengths and areas for improvement. Recognizing capabilities provides reassurance, while acknowledging gaps informs preparation and learning. Awareness of personal skill levels reduces uncertainty, clarifies priorities, and ensures that confidence is rooted in reality. Confidence supported by self-knowledge is sustainable and resilient to overestimation or underestimation of ability. Consistency over time cements confidence into identity. By repeatedly preparing, learning, and taking action, the mind internalizes a sense of capability. Confidence becomes habitual rather than occasional, a default mindset that guides behavior without reliance on fluctuating motivation. Regular practice in competence, building tasks forms an identity of someone who can handle complexity, act decisively, and achieve meaningful results. Celebrating achievement reinforces confidence. Recognize progress, skill mastery, and effort applied. Celebration signals to the mind that work produces results and validates preparation, learning, and action. Positive reinforcement strengthens motivation and maintains focus on continued growth. Acknowledging success consolidates belief in personal ability and reinforces habits that sustain confidence. By intentionally combining preparation, learning, and consistent action, confidence develops naturally and reliably. The mind learns to trust in its own capabilities, navigate uncertainty, and respond effectively under pressure. Competence becomes tangible through repeated success and deliberate effort, creating self-assurance that is grounded, sustainable, and actionable. Confidence is not passive, it is earned through engagement, effort, and persistence. Each step of preparation, each moment of learning, and each consistent action compounds into a mindset capable of tackling challenges, pursuing goals, and achieving results with conviction and certainty. Chapter 15 Focus on progress instead of waiting for perfection. Progress matters more than perfection because waiting for ideal conditions prevents action. Many people delay effort because circumstances are not flawless or skills are not fully developed. Perfection is an illusion that creates hesitation, procrastination, and missed opportunities. True growth occurs when consistent steps are taken toward improvement, even if outcomes are imperfect. By focusing on progress, momentum builds, learning accelerates, and small wins accumulate into significant achievement. Action in the present produces results, knowledge, and confidence, whereas waiting for perfection only stalls potential and diminishes opportunity. The first step is to set realistic expectations for what constitutes meaningful progress. Small, achievable goals build confidence and demonstrate that effort produces results. By defining incremental steps, the mind can track improvement rather than obsessing over an unattainable ideal. Progress-oriented thinking shifts attention from flawlessness to growth, creating a mindset that values forward movement. Measuring even minor advancements reinforces the idea that consistent effort compounds into significant transformation. Embrace iteration instead of finality. Each attempt provides information about strengths, weaknesses, and areas for refinement. Mistakes and imperfect outcomes are not failures, they are feedback. Approach tasks with the mindset of testing, learning, and improving rather than producing flawless results on the first try. Iterative effort accelerates mastery because experience accumulates quickly and each version builds on the previous one. Progress is strengthened by learning from action rather than waiting for ideal conditions to arrive. Prioritize action over analysis paralysis. Overthinking details or evaluating potential outcomes endlessly prevents forward movement. Progress is achieved by doing, assessing results, and adjusting accordingly. Immediate effort creates opportunities for learning and refinement. Waiting for conditions to be perfect or skills to be complete delays experience and limits growth. Each action, no matter how imperfect, develops skill, builds confidence, and creates tangible results that inform the next step. Focus on consistency rather than outcome perfection. Daily, repeated effort compounds into long-term achievement. Progress is not measured solely by immediate success, but by continuous engagement and incremental improvement. Regular action establishes habits that support growth and reinforce capability. Even when results are below expectations, the process itself strengthens skill, resilience, and confidence. Persistence ensures that progress continues despite temporary setbacks or imperfect performance. Celebrate small victories along the way. Acknowledging incremental improvements reinforces motivation and provides evidence that effort is effective. Recognition of progress reduces the mental burden of striving for unattainable perfection. Each completed step, no matter how minor, strengthens belief in one's ability to improve. Encouraging continued action. Positive reinforcement reinforces the mindset that progress is valuable and essential to long-term success. Shift focus from comparison to self-evaluation. Perfection often results from comparing oneself to others or imagined ideals. Instead, measure progress against previous personal performance. Growth is relative to where you were yesterday, last week, or last month. By concentrating on personal improvement, the mind remains motivated and energy is invested in meaningful effort rather than futile comparison. Self-evaluation creates a continuous cycle of learning, adjustment, and advancement. Break tasks into manageable components. Large projects or objectives can feel overwhelming, and the desire for perfection may prevent starting. Dividing work into smaller, actionable steps creates opportunities for measurable progress. Each completed component reinforces momentum and builds confidence. Incremental progress through manageable steps demonstrates that action leads to results and reduces the mental weight of striving for an ideal final product. Accept that imperfection is inherent in learning. Every expert began as a beginner and developed competence through repeated attempts and errors. Mistakes, setbacks, and incomplete results are natural and essential components of growth. Understanding this reality reduces fear, encourages experimentation, and fosters resilience. Progress, focused effort embraces imperfection as a necessary part of mastery, transforming challenges into opportunities for development. Set clear priorities to maximize meaningful progress. Not every action contributes equally to growth. Identify tasks, skills, or habits that produce the greatest advancement and dedicate effort to them consistently. Focusing on high-impact actions ensures that even imperfect effort generates significant returns. Prioritization enables efficient progress and reduces wasted time spent attempting perfection in low-value areas. Clarity of purpose directs energy to outcomes that truly matter. Practice reflection to reinforce learning. After completing tasks, evaluate what worked, what could be improved, and what insights were gained. Reflection consolidates experience into knowledge that informs future action. By examining progress regularly, the mind identifies patterns, strengthens effective strategies, and adapts to challenges. Reflection ensures that even imperfect efforts contribute to cumulative growth and enhance skill over time. Develop resilience to navigate setbacks. Imperfect results may trigger frustration or discouragement. Viewing mistakes as temporary and informative maintains momentum. Progress-focused individuals continue to act despite difficulties, learning from experience rather than being stalled by imperfection. Resilience reinforces the habit of forward movement, ensuring that long-term advancement outweighs temporary discomfort or unsatisfactory outcomes. Prioritize learning over approval. Seeking validation from others or relying on external judgment increases the desire for perfection. Concentrate instead on gaining experience, refining skills, and achieving personal growth. By valuing learning and progress above external recognition, The mind develops independence and sustained motivation. Confidence strengthens as effort becomes self-directed and purpose-driven rather than dependent on others' evaluation. Track improvement objectively. Record achievements, completed tasks, or skills developed over time. Visible evidence of progress strengthens motivation and provides a tangible sense of advancement. Objective tracking reduces the urge to focus on flaws or unmet ideals, reinforcing the mindset that consistent action produces results. Seeing progress documented builds momentum, clarity, and confidence in the process. Act immediately rather than waiting for optimal conditions. Waiting for perfect timing or complete preparation delays learning and growth. Action in the present, even if imperfect, generates experience, feedback, and forward momentum. Immediate engagement reinforces skill acquisition and accelerates the path to mastery. Progress-oriented action prioritizes execution over hypothetical perfection, transforming intention into tangible results. Develop habits that support incremental advancement. Systems and routines make progress automatic and sustainable. Establish consistent practices that promote skill development, task completion, and reflection. Habits ensure that action occurs even when motivation fluctuates and reduce the mental burden of striving for perfection. Consistent routines compound small efforts into significant, long-term progress. Focus on effort rather than outcome. Valuing diligence and persistence ensures that progress continues regardless of immediate results. Outcome-based thinking often encourages waiting for perfection or external approval. Effort-driven focus builds competence, strengthens resilience, and reinforces the principle that action produces growth. The cumulative effect of sustained effort produces mastery and achievement over time. By focusing on progress instead of perfection, growth becomes measurable, actionable, and sustainable. The mind learns to value forward movement, adapt from mistakes, and persist through uncertainty. Incremental improvement compounds into significant achievement, confidence, and competence. Prioritizing action over flawless execution transforms hesitation into momentum and builds resilience, skill, and self-belief. Progress-focused effort cultivates a mindset that thrives on learning, experimentation, and persistent advancement, creating a life defined by tangible growth rather than unattainable ideals. Chapter 16. Create routines that support growth and long-term success. Routines are the foundation of growth because consistent action creates momentum, builds skill, and reinforces discipline. Success is rarely accidental. It emerges from repeated behaviors that align with long-term objectives. Without deliberate routines, effort becomes inconsistent, progress stagnates, and potential remains unrealized. Routines transform intention into automatic action, making it possible to pursue goals even when motivation fluctuates. A structured daily framework provides clarity, reduces decision fatigue, and ensures that energy is spent on activities that produce meaningful results. Creating routines that support growth is not about rigid schedules, but about designing systems that consistently move you closer to your aspirations. Start by identifying key areas that drive long-term success. These may include learning, health, productivity, relationships, and personal development. Once priorities are clear, determine daily or weekly actions that directly contribute to improvement in these areas. Each activity should have purpose, measurable impact, and repetition to reinforce progress. Intentional design of routines ensures that growth occurs naturally as a result of consistent engagement in meaningful behaviors rather than sporadic bursts of effort. Consistency is more important than intensity. Small actions repeated daily are more powerful than occasional efforts taken with great energy. Building routines around manageable steps allows the mind and body to adapt and reduces the likelihood of burnout. For example, dedicating 15 minutes each day to focused learning or reflection produces more cumulative growth than occasional marathon sessions. Over time, small, consistent efforts compound into significant transformation, creating lasting habits that support long-term success. Anchor routines to triggers. Linking new habits to existing behaviors or specific times of day makes them easier to maintain. Morning rituals, pre-work preparations, or transition moments between activities can act as reminders and cues for action. Triggers reduce the mental energy required to initiate tasks and help establish automatic behavior. By embedding routines into the natural flow of daily life, growth becomes effortless and sustainable. Plan routines that balance effort and recovery. Growth is maximized when energy, focus, and creativity are maintained. Include time for rest, reflection, and rejuvenation alongside active work periods. Overloading schedules leads to fatigue, reduces performance, and weakens motivation. Structuring routines to alternate between focused action and restorative practices ensures continuous progress without sacrificing well-being. Sustainable routines protect both mental and physical capacity while supporting consistent advancement. Incorporate deliberate learning into daily routines. Continuous improvement requires regular engagement with knowledge, skill development, and reflection. Allocate time for reading, practice, or experimentation to build expertise in key areas. Learning routines reinforce competence, boost confidence, and ensure that growth is intentional rather than accidental. The habit of regular education strengthens adaptability and keeps the mind sharp, ready to handle challenges and seize opportunities. Include self-reflection as a core component. Daily or weekly evaluation allows you to assess progress, identify obstacles, and adjust routines accordingly. Reflection ensures that time and effort are aligned with goals, preventing energy from being wasted on unproductive habits. It reinforces self-awareness and helps maintain focus on long-term objectives. A routine that includes reflection transforms experience into insight and keeps growth intentional and measurable. Routines should prioritize high-impact activities. Not all tasks contribute equally to success. Identify actions that produce meaningful results and embed them into the daily framework. Reduce time spent on low-value activities that distract from growth. Purposeful allocation of effort ensures that routines maximize efficiency and impact. Each structured action reinforces progress, creating momentum that compounds over time. Flexibility is essential for sustainable routines. Life presents unexpected challenges and opportunities that require adaptation. While consistency is critical, routines should allow for adjustments without breaking momentum. Flexibility ensures that routines remain practical, maintainable, and resilient under changing circumstances. Adapting without abandoning structure preserves progress and strengthens problem-solving ability, making routines a dynamic tool for long-term success. Incorporate accountability to reinforce routine adherence. Sharing goals and habits with others, tracking progress, or using reminders enhances commitment. Accountability increases the likelihood that routines are followed consistently and provides external validation of effort. Knowing that actions are observed or measured reinforces discipline and motivates sustained engagement. Accountability transforms routine behaviors from optional to essential components of growth. Routines that include deliberate goal setting drive purpose and clarity, define specific, measurable objectives, and allocate daily actions to support their achievement. Without clear goals, routines risk becoming mechanical and disconnected from desired outcomes. Structured alignment of daily habits with long-term ambitions ensures that effort produces meaningful progress. Each completed task reinforces the link between action and accomplishment, strengthening both motivation and discipline. Embed habits that support physical and mental resilience. Growth and success require energy, focus, and endurance. Include exercise, proper nutrition, sleep, and stress management in daily routines. Physical and mental well-being provide the foundation for sustained performance, enhancing the effectiveness of all other growth-oriented behaviors. Routines that protect health maximize productivity, sharpen focus, and build the stamina necessary for consistent action over time. Regularly review and refine routines. Continuous improvement applies not only to skills but to the structure of daily life. Evaluate which habits are effective, which need adjustment, and which should be eliminated. Refining routines ensures that time and energy are consistently directed toward activities that produce maximum growth. A feedback-driven approach keeps routines efficient, relevant, and aligned with evolving goals. Combine incremental progress with routine habits. Each repetition of a productive action strengthens skill, reinforces discipline, and moves you closer to long-term objectives. By embedding small improvements into daily practices, growth occurs continuously and naturally. Momentum accumulates gradually, creating a compounding effect that multiplies results over time. Routines make incremental advancement automatic and sustainable. Prioritize routines that cultivate focus and clarity, limit distractions, organize the environment, and allocate dedicated blocks of time for critical activities. Structured routines protect attention and allow deeper engagement with important tasks. Focused effort enhances efficiency, skill development, and decision-making. By managing attention intentionally, routines ensure that progress is consistent and meaningful. Routines that integrate reflection, learning, and action create a cycle of continual growth. Each component reinforces the other's. Action generates experience, reflection consolidates insight, and learning informs improved performance. This feedback loop transforms repeated effort into meaningful progress. Daily adherence strengthens capability, sharpens judgment, and builds confidence in the ability to navigate complex challenges. Celebrate consistency to reinforce habits. Recognizing adherence to routines provides motivation and strengthens the habit loop. Rewarding progress, even in small ways, reinforces commitment and encourages sustained engagement. Positive reinforcement ensures that routines remain enjoyable and maintainable over the long term, reducing the risk of burnout or disengagement. Routines are a tool for deliberate life design. By structuring daily behaviors to support growth, skill development, and resilience, the mind and body are consistently prepared for opportunity and challenge. Each completed habit contributes to long-term objectives, turning intentional effort into measurable results. The cumulative effect of well-designed routines produces competence, confidence, and sustainable achievement. By creating routines that support growth, momentum becomes automatic, learning becomes habitual, and long-term success is structured into daily life. Thoughtful design, consistent execution, reflection, and adjustment ensure that routines remain effective and aligned with goals. Each repetition strengthens skill, builds resilience, and reinforces discipline, transforming effort into achievement. Over time, well-crafted routines create an environment in which personal growth is inevitable, capability is constant, and success is the natural outcome of structured, consistent action. Chapter 17. I learn from failures and apply lessons immediately. Failure is not a sign of weakness, it is a signal to adjust, learn, and grow. Every unsuccessful attempt contains information about what works and what does not. Ignoring failure or denying its lessons ensures repetition of the same mistakes and stunts personal development. Learning from failure requires honest assessment, reflection, and immediate application of insights. Delay in addressing mistakes diminishes their value, because the opportunity to correct behavior is strongest when experience is fresh. Approaching failure as a teacher rather than a punishment transforms obstacles into stepping stones toward competence, resilience, and achievement. The first step in leveraging failure is to analyze what went wrong without assigning blame. Focus on actions, strategies, and decisions rather than personal shortcomings. Objectivity allows the mind to separate emotion from fact, enabling clear insight into causes and solutions. Understanding why an outcome failed clarifies patterns, exposes weak points, and highlights areas that require adjustment. This analytical approach converts mistakes into actionable information that can improve future performance. Immediate application of lessons is critical. Waiting too long to implement changes allows old habits and errors to persist. The moment after a failure is when the mind retains the clearest memory of circumstances, decisions, and contributing factors. Using this window to adjust strategies, refine actions, and correct errors ensures that the experience contributes to growth rather than repetition of mistakes. Speedy application of lessons reinforces competence and strengthens problem-solving skills. Adopt a mindset of curiosity rather than judgment, viewing failure as an opportunity to understand processes, patterns, and decisions encourages learning instead of discouragement. Ask questions about what could be improved, what was overlooked, and which alternative approaches might yield better results. Curiosity fosters exploration, innovation, and adaptability. When failures are approached with an inquisitive mind, each setback becomes a source of insight rather than a source of fear or regret. Document the lessons learned. Writing down mistakes and the resulting insights makes the learning concrete and accessible for future reference. Recording details such as context, decisions, outcomes, and reflection strengthens understanding and prevents recurrence. Documentation transforms fleeting experience into structured knowledge that can inform decision-making consistently. A written record also allows for comparison over time, showing progress and highlighting patterns that may otherwise go unnoticed. Develop resilience alongside learning. Encountering failure repeatedly can be discouraging, but resilient minds view setbacks as temporary and informative. Emotional regulation prevents frustration or fear from blocking analysis or action. Each recovered attempt reinforces confidence and demonstrates the ability to overcome obstacles. Resilience ensures that learning from failure does not remain theoretical, but is translated into sustained action and growth. Test solutions iteratively. Once lessons are extracted, experiment with revised approaches. Incremental adjustments reduce the risk of repeating errors and allow refinement in real time. Testing alternative strategies strengthens problem-solving capacity and provides evidence for what works. Iterative action reinforces the link between learning and improvement, creating a continuous cycle of refinement and advancement. Maintain accountability in applying lessons. Share insights with mentors, peers, or collaborators to validate understanding and reinforce commitment to change. External accountability increases focus, ensures follow-through, and provides additional perspectives for improvement. By reporting adjustments and results, the mind becomes disciplined in translating failure into immediate, actionable progress. Reflect on emotional responses to failure. Understanding personal reactions provides insight into decision-making patterns and areas of improvement. Emotional awareness enables better control over future actions and reduces the likelihood of decisions driven by frustration, fear, or impulsivity. By addressing emotional components, the lessons from failure become holistic, integrating both cognitive and affective elements of experience. Distinguish between controllable and uncontrollable factors. Focus on aspects of failure that can be influenced, such as strategy, preparation, and effort. Accept elements beyond control without dwelling on them. This distinction prevents wasted energy on factors outside influence and channels focus into areas that produce meaningful improvement. Targeted application of lessons strengthens efficiency and enhances effectiveness in subsequent attempts. Embrace a culture of experimentation. Each failure is part of testing boundaries, learning possibilities, and discovering new approaches. Treat setbacks as data points rather than endpoints. Experimentation encourages flexibility, creativity, and openness to alternative solutions. By framing failure as an expected part of learning, the mind maintains confidence and curiosity even in the face of challenges. Integrate lessons into habit formation. Adjust routines, behaviors, and strategies to prevent recurrence of mistakes. Reinforcing improved patterns ensures that learning translates into automatic responses over time. Habits built from failure create long-term resilience and consistent application of effective approaches. This transforms isolated learning events into continuous personal evolution. Use failure to identify blind spots. Mistakes often reveal gaps in knowledge, preparation, or decision-making. Recognizing these areas allows focused effort to close gaps and strengthen capability. Blind spots that are ignored will continue to produce setbacks, but attention to these vulnerabilities accelerates growth and competence. Awareness of weaknesses strengthens both strategic planning and self-confidence. Cultivate patience in the process. Learning from failure and implementing lessons takes time. Immediate action is essential, but mastery emerges gradually through repeated adjustments and refinements. Patience ensures sustained effort without discouragement when results are not instant. Consistent attention to applying lessons compounds over time into tangible improvement and measurable progress. Develop the ability to separate self-worth from outcomes. Failure does not define value, it signals areas for adjustment. By decoupling identity from results, the mind maintains confidence while engaging in continuous learning. This separation encourages risk-taking, experimentation, and innovation, all of which are necessary for significant growth. Viewing failure objectively preserves energy for constructive action rather than self-criticism. Focus on the actionable elements of failure. Instead of dwelling on disappointment, extract specific changes that can improve future performance. This creates a forward-looking mindset and channels energy into solutions rather than regret. Actionable insight transforms negative experiences into productive steps that directly enhance competence, decision-making, and results. Leverage failure to strengthen problem-solving skills. Each unsuccessful attempt challenges the mind to identify alternative approaches, anticipate obstacles, and develop creative solutions. Over time, repeated engagement with failure refines analytical skills, increases adaptability, and enhances strategic thinking. Problem-solving becomes habitual, making future challenges more manageable and less intimidating. Integrate lessons into goal refinement. Use insights from failure to adjust objectives, timelines, and methods. Flexible goal setting ensures that setbacks inform strategy rather than halt progress. By refining direction based on experience, the mind creates a dynamic plan for achievement that incorporates learning and adaptation. Goals evolve as knowledge grows, keeping progress aligned with reality. Mentor others based on your failures. Sharing insights consolidates understanding and provides accountability for applying lessons. Teaching others reinforces learning and demonstrates mastery of principles. It also fosters humility and perspective, recognizing that mistakes are universal and manageable. Guiding others through challenges reinforces personal growth while contributing value to the broader environment. By learning from failures and applying lessons immediately, progress accelerates, resilience strengthens, and skill develops rapidly. Each setback becomes a guide for improvement rather than a barrier to achievement. Immediate action ensures that mistakes are transformed into growth, confidence, and competence. The mind trained to analyze, adjust, and implement from experience creates a feedback loop that turns every failure into a stepping stone, making personal growth deliberate, measurable, and unstoppable. Chapter 18E. Strengthen determination by finishing what you start. Determination is built through consistent follow-through and the commitment to finish what is started. Initiating action is only the first step. True strength emerges when effort persists until completion. Starting projects, tasks, or goals without finishing creates habits of inconsistency and diminishes confidence. Completing what you begin trains the mind to overcome obstacles, maintain focus, and develop endurance. The act of finishing transforms intention into tangible results and reinforces the belief that challenges can be met successfully. Determination grows as effort is sustained, and each completed endeavor strengthens self-trust and resilience. Begin by setting clear and achievable objectives. Knowing what success looks like allows action to be directed with purpose and intention. Without clarity, the mind may drift, energy dissipates, and projects remain incomplete. A defined goal establishes a roadmap that guides consistent effort from initiation to conclusion. This structure reduces distraction, increases focus, and cultivates the habit of finishing tasks. Break large objectives into smaller, manageable components. When tasks feel overwhelming, it is easy to lose momentum and abandon progress. Dividing work into steps creates checkpoints that allow for measurable progress and reinforce the commitment to completion. Each finished segment reinforces determination and builds the habit of seeing tasks through to the end. Incremental completion strengthens confidence and reduces the mental burden of tackling large goals. Prioritize action over hesitation. Delaying effort or waiting for ideal conditions undermines determination. Progress is maintained when action begins immediately and is sustained consistently. Momentum develops through doing rather than planning endlessly. Starting promptly allows the mind to encounter challenges, adapt, and strengthen resolve through experience. Determination is reinforced by consistent engagement with the work at hand. Maintain focus on long-term vision while managing short-term challenges. Distractions, setbacks, and fatigue can weaken resolve. A clear connection between present effort and ultimate objectives motivates perseverance. Reminding yourself of the purpose behind actions strengthens commitment and helps navigate temporary discomfort. Finishing tasks becomes easier when effort is anchored in a meaningful goal rather than immediate gratification. Develop strategies to overcome obstacles. Anticipate challenges and plan responses in advance to maintain momentum. Resilience and problem-solving are strengthened when solutions are implemented consistently rather than abandoning tasks in frustration. Each obstacle successfully navigated reinforces the belief that determination can overcome adversity. Finishing what is started requires adaptability, persistence, and proactive management of difficulties. Create accountability systems. Sharing goals with trusted individuals or tracking progress publicly increases commitment to completion. External accountability reinforces internal motivation, making it more likely that projects will be finished even when personal drive wanes. Accountability also provides feedback and perspective, helping to maintain focus and commitment to finishing tasks fully. Celebrate completion to reinforce the habit of finishing. Recognizing achievement, regardless of scale, strengthens the psychological association between effort and reward. Positive reinforcement encourages repetition of the behavior and makes the act of completing tasks a valued practice. Celebrating milestones sustains motivation and emphasizes the importance of seeing endeavors through to the end. Practice discipline in everyday actions. Small, consistent acts of follow-through develop the mental muscles necessary for larger challenges. Completing daily responsibilities, personal projects, or skill-building activities strengthens determination incrementally. Regularly finishing even minor commitments builds reliability, confidence, and a mindset that is resistant to quitting under pressure. Consistency in completion compounds over time, producing substantial long-term benefits. Focus on the benefits of completion rather than the difficulties. Concentrating on outcomes motivates persistence and sustains effort through challenges. Understanding the tangible results of finishing, such as skills gained, opportunities created, or satisfaction achieved, reinforces determination. The mind learns to associate sustained effort with meaningful results, making it easier to push through resistance and maintain focus. Minimize opportunities for avoidance. Design environments and routines that reduce distractions and procrastination. Limiting interruptions and structuring time to prioritize completion ensures that effort is directed efficiently. Environmental control supports determination by removing excuses and facilitating sustained engagement with tasks. A focused setting strengthens the habit of finishing and reinforces disciplined effort. Build mental resilience through repeated completion. Each finished project, task, or commitment reinforces self-trust and endurance. Facing challenges and carrying them through to completion strengthens confidence and mental toughness. Determination becomes a natural response to obstacles as the mind internalizes the experience of overcoming difficulty and finishing work consistently. Visualize the end result regularly. Keeping the finished goal in mind motivates sustained effort and helps navigate temporary setbacks. Mental rehearsal of success strengthens resolve and provides clarity regarding the steps needed to achieve completion. Visualization reinforces commitment, reduces hesitation, and increases persistence when challenges arise. Address perfectionism by prioritizing completion over flawlessness. Waiting for conditions to be ideal or results to be perfect often leads to abandonment. Determination is reinforced by action and finishing, even if outcomes are imperfect. Imperfections can be corrected and improved, but unfinished tasks provide no benefit. Action combined with refinement produces tangible results and strengthens the habit of completing what is started. Reflect on past successes to reinforce confidence in finishing. Reviewing instances where projects were completed despite obstacles reminds the mind of capability and strengthens motivation. Understanding that past determination produced results reinforces the belief that current efforts can also be carried through. Reflection connects experience to future action and builds enduring persistence. Integrate finishing into daily routines. Habitual completion of small tasks trains the mind to sustain effort, manage distractions, and maintain focus. Regular practice in finishing reinforces determination and makes follow-through an automatic response rather than a conscious struggle. Over time, consistent practice transforms perseverance into an innate quality. Develop strategies for managing fatigue and distraction. Mental and physical energy fluctuate, but determination is sustained by pacing effort, taking short restorative breaks, and refocusing attention. Awareness of personal limits allows for smarter allocation of effort and prevents premature abandonment of tasks. Strategic management of energy ensures that momentum is maintained toward completion. Align effort with intrinsic motivation. Engaging in work that is meaningful and resonates personally strengthens the desire to see tasks through. Determination is easier to maintain when actions reflect values, interests, or long-term aspirations. Internal alignment creates sustained energy and purpose, reinforcing the habit of finishing. Commit publicly to deadlines or deliverables. External commitments enhance responsibility and motivate action. Knowing that others are expecting completion increases mental pressure to follow through and reduces the likelihood of giving up. Accountability supports internal determination by creating structure and social reinforcement for finishing tasks. Recognize that unfinished work erodes confidence over time. Each abandoned task reinforces habits of inconsistency and weakens self-belief. Completing projects strengthens the mind's ability to persevere, providing evidence that challenges can be met successfully. Determination grows cumulatively through repeated experiences of follow-through. By finishing what is started, determination is strengthened, focus is sharpened, and self-trust is reinforced. Completing tasks transforms effort into achievement, builds resilience, and reinforces the habit of persistence. Each completed endeavor serves as evidence of capability, motivating continued action and growth. Commitment to follow through cultivates a mindset that values consistency, discipline, and achievement, ensuring that goals are realized and potential is fully expressed. Chapter 19. Invest time in skills that increase personal value. Investing time in developing valuable skills is one of the most effective ways to enhance personal growth and long-term success. Skills are assets that increase your ability to contribute, create opportunities, and navigate challenges. Focusing on skill development ensures that effort is purposeful and produces tangible improvements in competence, confidence, and influence. Time spent learning and refining abilities compounds over time, creating exponential growth in personal value and opening doors that would otherwise remain closed. Skills are the bridge between potential and achievement, and deliberate investment in them transforms opportunity into measurable results. Begin by identifying skills that are in high demand or directly aligned with your goals. Choose abilities that provide practical leverage in your professional life, personal development, or creative endeavors. Prioritize skills that enhance your capacity to solve problems, innovate, or contribute uniquely. Focused selection ensures that effort yields the greatest return on investment and positions you to achieve long-term impact. Skills chosen intentionally amplify effectiveness and make your time spent learning far more valuable. Commit to consistent practice. Mastery is built through repetition and deliberate engagement. Sporadic or casual effort produces minimal growth, while regular, structured practice strengthens capability. Even small daily investments in skill development create cumulative improvements that accelerate over time. Consistency builds both competence and confidence and reinforces the habit of continuous improvement. The discipline of repeated practice transforms raw potential into reliable performance. Use active learning methods to enhance retention and application. Engage with material through practice, experimentation, and problem-solving rather than passive consumption. Applying new knowledge immediately strengthens understanding and increases the likelihood that skills will be transferable to real-world situations. Active learning ensures that time spent developing skills produces practical, usable outcomes rather than theoretical knowledge that is quickly forgotten. Action reinforces learning and accelerates mastery. Seek feedback from mentors, peers, or experienced practitioners. Constructive input identifies blind spots, highlights areas for improvement, and accelerates growth. Without feedback, mistakes may go unnoticed and progress slows. Listening carefully, reflecting on advice, and integrating corrections strengthens both skill and judgment. Feedback transforms learning into a guided process that moves faster and more efficiently than trial and error alone. Diversify your skill set strategically. Combining complementary abilities increases versatility, adaptability, and value. For example, technical proficiency paired with communication skills or leadership capability enhances overall effectiveness. Diverse skills provide leverage in multiple domains and expand opportunities for advancement. Strategic skill accumulation multiplies influence and ensures long-term relevance in evolving environments. Prioritize quality over quantity when learning. Depth of understanding and competence is more valuable than superficial knowledge. Becoming truly proficient in a few high-impact areas produces greater value than spreading effort too thin across many skills. Focused mastery establishes credibility, increases confidence, and ensures that abilities are reliable and meaningful. Time invested in depth creates lasting advantage. Apply skills immediately in practical situations. Real-world application reinforces learning, demonstrates capability, and generates tangible results. Skills retained only in theory are of limited value. Using new abilities in meaningful contexts accelerates improvement, deepens understanding, and builds confidence. Action is the key that converts potential into actual value and ensures that skills are embedded through experience. Continuously update and adapt skills to maintain relevance. Markets, technologies, and industries evolve, and abilities that were once valuable can become outdated. Regularly assess the relevance of your skills and invest in emerging competencies that align with future opportunities. Lifelong learning ensures that personal value remains high and that growth continues regardless of external changes. Adaptability in skill development maintains competitiveness and influence. Invest time in both hard and soft skills. Technical expertise enhances capability, while interpersonal communication and emotional intelligence skills increase effectiveness in collaborative and leadership contexts. The combination of cognitive, practical, and relational abilities amplifies overall personal value. Balancing these dimensions ensures holistic development and strengthens adaptability in diverse circumstances. Well-rounded skill sets increase opportunity and foster resilience. Set measurable goals for skill development. Define specific benchmarks for proficiency, completion, or application. Tracking progress provides motivation, accountability, and clarity regarding growth. Goal-oriented skill investment ensures that effort is directed, measurable, and impactful. Without clear objectives, learning risks becoming unfocused or unproductive. Defined milestones transform vague intentions into structured achievement. Embrace challenges and difficult tasks as learning opportunities. Stretching beyond comfort zones accelerates growth and deepens competence. Tackling complex problems or advanced concepts forces the mind to adapt, strengthens problem-solving ability, and reinforces confidence in handling difficulty. Skill development is most effective when effort is deliberate, challenging, and persistent. Facing difficulty produces resilience and lasting mastery. Leverage technology and resources to enhance efficiency. Online courses, tutorials, tools, and simulations can accelerate learning and expand access to high-quality instruction. Using resources intelligently reduces time wasted on trial and error and provides structured guidance for improvement. Smart resource utilization maximizes returns on time invested and ensures that learning is efficient and effective. Technology supports skill development by providing structured practice and immediate feedback. Integrate learning into daily routines. Dedicate focused time each day to skill improvement, even in small increments. Regular practice creates habit, strengthens retention, and ensures continuous progress. Daily engagement transforms sporadic effort into consistent advancement, building momentum that compounds over weeks and months. Habitual investment in skills produces sustained growth and reliable development over time. Collaborate with others to accelerate growth. Working with peers, mentors, or learning communities exposes you to diverse perspectives, alternative strategies, and feedback. Collaboration enriches understanding, challenges assumptions, and creates opportunities for applied practice. Learning in context with others ensures skills are refined in realistic and relevant ways. Interaction reinforces knowledge and strengthens adaptability. Reflect regularly on skill application and progress. Self-assessment ensures that time invested produces meaningful improvement and identifies areas for adjustment. Reflection transforms experience into insight, enabling smarter strategies for continued growth. Regular review prevents stagnation, reinforces understanding, and maintains alignment between effort and desired outcomes. Awareness of progress increases motivation and strengthens commitment to mastery. Focus on skills that generate leverage. Abilities that enable you to influence outcomes, solve critical problems, or create opportunities multiply your effectiveness. Investing time in high leverage skills produces disproportionate value compared to effort and ensures that growth is meaningful and impactful. Prioritizing leverage maximizes return on time and energy, strengthening both capability and influence. Document learning and progress systematically. Recording insights, exercises, and results consolidates knowledge and allows for future reference. Documentation reinforces retention, tracks improvement, and highlights gaps requiring further development. A structured record transforms fragmented learning into a coherent growth plan. Systematic tracking ensures that skill investment is strategic and measurable. Maintain patience and persistence in skill development. Mastery requires sustained effort over time, and immediate results are rare. Continued dedication reinforces competence, deepens understanding, and builds confidence. Persistent investment in skills transforms short-term effort into long-term value and establishes a foundation for sustained success. Patience ensures that the journey of growth is steady and resilient. Evaluate outcomes of skill application. Measure how newly developed abilities produce results in real-world contexts. Adjust strategies based on effectiveness and relevance to maximize impact. Evaluation reinforces learning, validates effort, and guides continued investment toward areas of highest value. Insightful assessment ensures that skill development produces both competence and measurable influence. By deliberately investing time in skills that increase personal value, growth becomes tangible, sustained, and strategic. Each focused effort enhances competence, confidence, and effectiveness, creating opportunities and reinforcing resilience. Consistent application, reflection, and adaptation ensure that skills are not just learned but mastered and leveraged to produce meaningful results. Over time, the accumulation of valuable abilities transforms potential into real influence, achievement, and personal empowerment. Chapter 20. Surround yourself with people who encourage growth. The people you spend the most time with shape your thoughts, actions, and opportunities. Surrounding yourself with individuals who inspire growth, challenge limitations, and support progress accelerates personal development. Relationships are powerful mirrors of your mindset and habits, influencing your beliefs about what is possible. When your environment is filled with growth-minded people, their attitudes, knowledge, and resilience become contagious. Positive influence is not passive, it actively reinforces discipline, focus, and the courage to take action. Choosing connections intentionally ensures that your energy is spent in ways that multiply potential and strengthen ambition. Start by identifying relationships that drain energy, foster doubt, or normalize complacency. Toxic or negative influences inhibit progress and slow personal evolution. Reducing time spent in unproductive interactions creates mental clarity and emotional space to engage with those who encourage advancement. Letting go of unsupportive relationships is not rejection, but a commitment to self-investment and future growth. Surrounding yourself with encouraging people allows focus to shift from limitation to possibility. Seek individuals who embody qualities you aspire to develop. Observing their behavior, habits, and mindset provides a model for excellence. Mentors, peers, and collaborators with a growth orientation demonstrate practical strategies for handling challenges, setting goals, and sustaining effort. Learning from their experience accelerates skill development, decision-making, and resilience. Proximity to capable, growth-oriented people makes achievement tangible and attainable rather than abstract. Engage in communities that prioritize learning, improvement, and accountability. Groups with shared values around progress create an ecosystem of reinforcement. Collaborative environments encourage experimentation, feedback, and shared problem-solving. Regular exposure to these contexts develops adaptability, persistence, and the confidence to pursue ambitious goals. Participation fosters mutual motivation, ensuring that individual effort is amplified by collective energy. Communicate your goals and intentions with supportive individuals. Transparency creates opportunities for guidance, encouragement, and practical assistance. Sharing progress and challenges allows others to provide feedback, insight, and accountability. Growth-minded companions help maintain momentum, validate effort, and prevent discouragement during difficult phases. Open communication strengthens connection and aligns relationships with purpose, ensuring that interaction contributes meaningfully to development. Prioritize reciprocal relationships where mutual growth is valued. Connections should be supportive but also challenge each participant to expand, reflect, and improve. Balanced exchanges stimulate critical thinking, creativity, and resilience. By engaging in relationships that emphasize constructive feedback and shared advancement, personal growth becomes a natural outcome rather than a solitary effort. Reciprocal influence multiplies impact and reinforces the habit of continuous improvement. Limit exposure to negativity and resistance. Constant engagement with cynical, complacent, or critical people can erode confidence, slow decision-making, and normalize stagnation. Protect mental and emotional resources by consciously choosing interaction with individuals who model accountability, determination, and curiosity. Positive influence is reinforced by consistency, so sustained exposure to supportive people ensures that growth-oriented habits become ingrained and habitual. Learn from diverse perspectives while maintaining alignment with growth principles. Surrounding yourself with people who challenge assumptions and provide alternative viewpoints fosters innovation and adaptability. Exposure to different strategies, skills, and experiences accelerates problem-solving and creativity. Constructive diversity ensures that growth is dynamic, informed, and resilient, while alignment with core values ensures stability and direction in personal development. Encourage and contribute to the growth of others. By supporting peers in their progress, you reinforce your own skills, knowledge, and mindset. Teaching, mentoring, and collaborating strengthen understanding and build networks of mutual advancement. Contribution creates an environment of accountability, respect, and shared ambition. Surrounding yourself with people who grow also requires active engagement, which sustains motivation and fosters deeper connections. Engage consistently and meaningfully with growth-minded individuals. Relationships require ongoing effort, attention, and participation to remain impactful. Regular interaction reinforces habits, exposes you to continuous learning, and keeps accountability alive. Passive association does not produce meaningful influence. Active engagement ensures that relationships contribute to tangible development and measurable progress. Set boundaries that protect focus, energy, and ambition. Not all connections are equally beneficial, and time is a limited resource. Boundaries ensure that attention is directed toward interactions that amplify growth rather than distract or diminish it. Protecting focus supports mental clarity, emotional stability, and sustained effort toward meaningful goals. Discipline in managing relationships reinforces the habit of surrounding yourself with positive influence. Observe and model effective behaviors. Growth-oriented companions demonstrate practices that enhance performance, discipline, and resilience. Adopting these behaviors accelerates your own development by reducing trial and error learning. Observation allows for faster implementation of strategies and increases confidence in new approaches. Learning through modeling strengthens skills and reinforces the mindset of continuous improvement. Celebrate achievements with those who support growth. Sharing milestones, progress, and successes with encouraging individuals reinforces positive behavior and motivation. Recognition creates reinforcement for effort, validates commitment, and strengthens bonds with people who share your values. Celebrating progress together amplifies momentum and fosters an environment where achievement is normalized and expected. Seek accountability from those who are results-oriented. Individuals who track progress, set measurable goals, and demand follow-through increase consistency and perseverance. Accountability encourages completion, reduces procrastination, and aligns daily effort with long-term objectives. Relationships built around mutual responsibility cultivate self-discipline and enhance determination. Accountability transforms intention into action and strengthens the habit of pursuing meaningful goals. Cultivate relationships that challenge comfort zones. Growth is accelerated when companions push boundaries, encourage experimentation, and question limiting beliefs. Exposure to challenges and alternative perspectives develops resilience, flexibility, and confidence. Supportive challenge fosters a mindset that embraces risk, adapts to change, and pursues continuous improvement. Individuals who encourage growth also inspire ambition through realistic but demanding expectations. Engage in knowledge exchange and skill sharing. Surrounding yourself with people who contribute insight, experience, and expertise provides practical learning opportunities. Collaboration expands understanding, exposes new strategies, and reinforces application of concepts. Sharing knowledge creates a dynamic environment where growth is both encouraged and actionable. Reciprocal learning strengthens connections and accelerates competence. Recognize the influence of subtle behaviors and attitudes. Even passive engagement with people who maintain discipline, optimism, and focus can shift mindset. Energy, language, and approach to challenges are absorbed through observation. Choosing to be around people who model effective habits influences thought patterns, decision-making, and emotional resilience. Subtle influence accumulates over time, reinforcing growth-oriented behavior and mindset. Invest in long-term connections. Consistent engagement over extended periods develops trust, shared experience, and deeper collaboration. Enduring relationships provide ongoing support, feedback, and motivation that reinforce habits and mindset. Long-term connections amplify the impact of positive influence, ensuring sustained personal development. Stability and growth. Focused networks strengthens resilience and encourages ambitious goal pursuit. Evaluate relationships periodically to maintain alignment with growth goals. People, circumstances, and personal objectives evolve over time. Regular assessment ensures that connections remain supportive, challenging, and constructive. Removing or adjusting relationships that no longer contribute to progress prevents stagnation and maintains focus. Ongoing evaluation preserves the integrity of the growth environment and strengthens personal accountability. Integrate growth-focused relationships into daily life. Interaction should be consistent, intentional, and meaningful. Surrounding yourself with supportive people should influence both thought and action, guiding behavior, reinforcing habits, and maintaining motivation. Consistent engagement ensures that influence is sustained rather than intermittent, producing cumulative improvement over time. Presence in such networks embeds growth into routine behavior and decision-making. By intentionally surrounding yourself with people who encourage growth, personal development becomes accelerated, consistent, and reinforced. The energy, knowledge, and habits of growth-oriented individuals inspire action, sustain focus, and increase resilience. Relationships act as catalysts, amplifying determination, discipline, and learning. Over time, engagement with supportive companions transforms mindset, elevates ambition, and ensures that effort is continuously aligned with meaningful progress. The company you keep shapes the trajectory of your life, making deliberate connection a critical factor in achieving potential and sustaining growth.